What it is, guys? It's your boy BlastphamousHD, and today we're here to hopefully not scare the living crap out of ourselves because it's gonna be scary stories. With that being said, today we're here to check out 2 true scary stories featuring Corpse Husband by Let's Read. If you guys want to watch the original video, the link's in the description down below. Make sure to go check them out. Let go.
An active duty Marine a year prior to this story happening. Granted, we're trained to take lives and deploy to other countries to fight. Sad to say that I never got the opportunity to deploy, but if I wasn't trained as a Marine, I honestly think I wouldn't be here telling this story. Now, onto the story. This story took place last year on a cool summer night here in Arizona. I just got off from work and took a coworker home from a late night dinner after the shift. I passed by a gas station after I dropped her off. I was working 2 jobs at the time, so it was already late, around 2 a.m. I knew an energy drink would help me wake up tomorrow morning for my next job. So I was slowly pulling into this empty gas station. I noticed no other cars anywhere. That's when something caught my eye as I was pulling up in front of the entrance. There was a shadowy figure that suddenly pulled up along one of the walls of the gas station and kept creeping along the walls, getting closer as I pulled up. There was some sort of shadowy figure that suddenly pulled up along one of the walls of the gas station. It crept along the walls, getting closer as I pulled up and turned off my car. But at the time I couldn't care less because I was tired and I figured he was just a drunk and about to ask for change or something like that. I saw the outline of his face as he pulled away from the shadows. He opened his mouth to say something, but before he could say anything, I cut him off and said, "Hey, I'll be right back, sir." He just kinda stood there and stared at me as I walked into the gas station. I wasn't even thinking about him because I was tired and just wanted to go home. I swooped up my favorite energy drink and walked up to the cashier. I paid for my drink in a matter of a minute as the cashier wasn't really in any mood to make any small talk. I pushed the entrance door open and I noticed that the man was no longer there. I was looking around for the man as I approached my car to only see him coming from the dark corner again. But something seemed off about him this time. I didn't care to stick around to see what was off about him and went to open my car door. Then I heard rapid footsteps approach from behind me. I turned around as fast as possible to make eye contact with him. He was just staring at me
I'm sorry, man. My reflexes are not for these type of situations. I've already had this happen to me before, and the guy didn't even run up, but he was too close. And my first reflexes is, well, put your feet in his butt. Not literally, but you know. I never fought the dude, but I you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like, yo, what's up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I even took a step towards him, like, yo, what's up? He was just asking for directions, and I felt so embarrassed.
less than an arm's reach away. Every option suddenly ran through my head, screaming at me to just get in the damn car and slam the door. But he was already too close for me to try anything without him trying to do something. So I wanted to try and create a peaceful conversation as a desperate attempt to try to get this creep away from me. I said, "Oh, hey, it's you again. Is there something I can do for you?" His whisper had a scratchy tone to it as he said, "Gotta need change." I was actually thrilled. I was happy because I could just give this creep some money as a peaceful resolution. I said, "Sure do. Hold on, I'll dig it out for you." By the time I grabbed a fistful of change as I leaned into my car, I heard the passenger door behind me open and then I felt a handful of my hair get pulled into my driver's seat. My hair got yanked back really hard.
Why have you not started beating him yet?
As he whispered, "You fucking scream or yell and I'll fucking kill you." Then
And that's the point where you gotta start beating him.
felt a knife slowly glide over my throat. He then whispered, "Understand." I carefully nodded up and down. He then replied, "Now we're going to New Mexico. Don't do anything stupid or I'll cover your car's interior with your blood." At the time I was thinking, fuck, this can't be fucking real. So I had to think and relax. That's one thing my commanding officer said in the Corps. The key to victory is a clear conscience and a cool head. So I asked him, "Okay, how are we doing this? You just gonna give me directions?" I then felt his grip on my hair loosen. Good, smart kid. I hate when they beg me to let them go. Now use your GPS or whatever. His knife was still gently pressed up against 70% or so of my throat. So I told him I was slowly going to reach into my glove compartment for my GPS. Then I asked him where in New Mexico we were going. He laughed and told me to just shut up and drive. Why was he laughing now? This guy was a complete psycho. I was there driving and praying in my head for a chance to open where I would be able to fight back. I could tell that his knife was starting to get loose around my neck for every 5 minutes or so that I drove. The knife at the start of this drive was at about 70%, but now it was at around 50%. I had to make a right at the intersection. Finally, I saw an opportunity. 5 minutes or so and as I saw the Ford Ranger approach at a rapid rate, I pressed all the way down on the gas pedal. Then boom. All I remember from all the commotion is the guy leaning back as I slid my hand under his wrist of the hand that was carrying the knife and pinned it against the steering wheel of my car. I can hear the horn blaring, attracting more attention. He let go of the knife and ran out of the car as the intersection made itself known to me again as my surroundings were no longer blurry. I wanted to run after him, but the driver of the Ford Ranger grabbed me and said, "Hey, what the hell happened? Do you have insurance?" I was trying to push through the guy to catch that fucking coward, but the only words that escaped my mouth were, "Don't let him get away!" That's all I was yelling as I saw the dark silhouette of the man disappearing into the darkness. I told the police everything when they arrived. I did everything you're supposed to, but nothing really ever came of it. And they didn't see anyone matching my description of the man. I now carry my gun on me and a few knives, so I will never be the victim of something like this again.
Story was pretty good. That guy doesn't sound like someone who was trained to deploy as a Marine.
About 6 months ago in the summer, Southern Hemisphere here, I tend to order a fair bit of pizza since hunger is a thing, and pizza is pretty much my only option for delivery since I don't drive. Now, I'm the kind of girl who doesn't wear pants if I don't have to. Oh, the weather's about 25 degrees, no pants for me.
I'm that type of girl as well.
I have one pair of shorts that I love to wear, but only around the house, so obviously I put those on as I'm expecting a pizza delivery and can't exactly open the door pantless. I open the door, accept the pizza, and begin eating my dinner by the television. Not too long into my meal, I get a message on my phone. I've deleted the messages, of course, but in the first message, the sender calls me by name, which is strange as I prefer my nickname, and asks if I'm home alone often with a winky face. Okay, way creepy. Who is this person? Between me asking who on earth they are and how they got my number, probably a mistake on my part, they begin to describe exactly what I was wearing, and I get a horrible sinking feeling. This person has my number, my name, and how I'm dressed. I realize that the only way they could know this is if they were the guy who delivered my pizza, as I had to use my name and number to order. And if that's the case, this person knows where I live too. I put the number into Google and checked the first few results. They're a local, and I've actually seen this person around on one of the buy, swap, sell pages on Facebook. Realizing they were in my town was the worst part, and they were literally in a good position to stalk, harass, or continue to be creepy as hell. I ended up drawing all the blinds, crawling into bed, and pretty much making myself into a blanket burrito, staying as still as I could for a few hours. I was genuinely scared out of my wits. Thankfully, I've yet to hear from this person again after threatening police action. Number 1. I was having a pleasant dream when what sounded like hammering woke me. After that, I could barely hear the muffled sound of dirt covering the coffin over my own screen.
All right. Well, these are going to be scary as all living crap.
Number 2. I woke up to hear knocking on glass. At first, I thought it was the window, until I heard it come from the mirror again. Number 3. There was a picture in my phone of me sleeping. I live alone. Number 4. My wife woke me up last night to tell me there was an intruder in our house. She was murdered by an intruder 2 years ago. Number 5. I never go to sleep, but I keep waking up. Number 6. The last thing I saw was my alarm clock flashing 12:07 before she pushed her long, rotting nails through my chest, her other hand muffling my scream. I sat bolt upright, relieved it was only a dream, but as I saw my alarm clock read 12:06, I heard my closet door creak open. Number 7.
Yeah, bruh, jump out the window immediately. That's what I would have done. I would have gone out the window. No need a ladder. I don't need none of that.
There's nothing like the laughter of a baby. Unless it's 1 a.m. and you're home alone. Number 8. I begin tucking him into bed, and he tells me, "Daddy, check for monsters under my bed." I look underneath for his amusement and see him, another him, under the bed, staring back at me, quivering and whispering, "Daddy, there's somebody on my bed." Number 9. I always thought my cat had a staring problem. She always seemed fixated on my face. Until one day, when I realized that she was always looking just behind me. Number 10.
Sarah!
A girl heard her mom yell her name from downstairs. So she got up and started to head down.
Sarah?
As she got to the stairs, her mom pulled her into her room and said,
I heard it too. Stay in here and don't make a sound.
Bruh, that is possibly the scariest thing I have ever seen animated.
Somehow stopped under a streetlight and decided to book an Uber for a safe journey home. With gloomy eyes and hazy vision, she booked a cab. The cab number read 2009. Riley waited for a few minutes. She looked around her. The wind and the silence of the night spooked her a bit. She thought to herself, I should have listened to Casey. It was a bad idea to leave for home tonight. All kinds of tense thoughts were going through her mind when a pair of headlights appeared from the end of the road. A white-colored Uber kept coming towards her. Riley immediately gestured with her hand, and the Uber stopped right in front of her. She was so drunk that the bright headlights of the car made her vision even more blurry. She saw the number, 200. Oh, yes, this is it, and got into the cab. The cab driver looked at the rearview mirror and said, Where will you go? Riley replied, 21 IMR Street. Just drive faster. The driver had a weird smile on his face. He started the car and replied, As you wish. Riley closed her eyes and sat for a few minutes. She started to feel a bit fine. As she opened her eyes, she saw they weren't on the highway anymore.
Why are her eyeballs red?
The car is now going through an old dusty road.
Oh, that's not good.
She got a bit tensed and said, Hey, which road is this? The car driver smiled and said, I took a shortcut, madam. Don't worry.
Oh.
Riley checked the GPS, and there was indeed a connecting road at some distance from this one. The driver started to chat with her. So, you live alone, huh? The driver said. Riley replied, Yeah. She was trying to keep the conversation as short as possible, but it seemed like the driver was hitting on her.
Uh-oh.
The driver then said something which ran a shiver down her spine. You know, a beautiful girl like you should not roam in the streets at night all by herself. Haven't you heard of the incidents that are happening these days? Riley suddenly remembered what her friend Sarah told her at the party. They were all sitting on the couch and having drinks when Sarah said, Have you guys heard about the slit throat killer? Everyone got surprised, including Riley. Sarah went on saying that for the last couple of days, Atlanta cops have said to have discovered 3 bodies from the highways. It seemed like someone slit their throats and dumped their bodies in the bushes on the high road. The cops have no idea who did this, but they are suspecting that there might be a serial killer roaming the streets at night, luring people into traps and slicing their throats. All 3 bodies were found on abandoned, empty roads, pointing out that when they were killed, there wasn't anyone around the area. Riley got all tensed and immediately got charged up. But the horror was yet to unfold in front of her. She received a notification from her Uber app. Until now, she closed the app after getting into the car.
Oh, snap.
The notification read, You have been charged for the canceled booking. Riley opened the app and realized she is stepping into grave danger.
Yeah, you going, baby?
Car number 2009 waited for her at the pickup location for almost 15 minutes.
Oh!
But as she didn't show up there, the driver just canceled the ride and left. If her ride has been canceled, then who is this person driving her right now?
Oh, he about to put stuff in her
Riley's
butt.
stomach dropped in fear. She couldn't speak or say a single word.
About to put stuff in her butt.
There is no point of screaming right now because there wasn't a single human being nearby.
Yup.
She can't call someone in front of this guy asking for help.
Yup.
Riley knew this man took her into his car with bad intentions. Is he the slit throat killer everyone was talking about at the party?
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
Oh my God. Drops of sweat appeared on her forehead. Riley calmed herself down. The only way she can get out of this situation alive is if she uses her brain.
Yep, she gonna have to suck on something. You know what I'm saying? Think of it this way, ladies. Okay, you're actually lucky, because as a guy, we get kidnapped by a dude, we're 100% dead. We can't offer a blowjob or nothing. We just get killed harder and faster if we do. Nothing gets you killed faster than hitting on a straight dude. It's pretty much a lose-lose.
The man looked at her from the rearview mirror and asked, Are you all right, madam?
What do your cheeks taste
Riley
like?
smiled and said, Yeah, I'm fine. How long will it take? The man replied in a cold voice, Not much longer.
Oh,
The
hell
man's reply
no!
felt like something is about to happen at any moment now. Riley was praying to God to save her from this unknown guy
Don't you do this
and
to
his
me.
evil intentions.
Don't you do this to me.
Riley said to the driver, keeping her voice as calm as possible.
I go to church at least 3 times a year. You can't do this to me. Not now, Lord. Damn it. I've put
$26 collectively into the plate, damn it.
What were you talking about back then? The driver said. Oh, you mean the slit throat killer? Interesting guy, huh? Then the man chuckled. Riley said, interesting. The cops are going to catch that killer soon. They have already found his victims' bodies. The driver laughed this time and replied, Madam, the cops found his victims because he wanted them to. People like this are insane. You can't spot them out even if they come right in front of you. They wear masks to fool you. The more the driver spoke about this serial killer, Riley's heart started to beat faster. But suddenly, the car started to jerk hugely and the driver pulled the brake. The car stopped, making a loud noise. The driver got out of the car and lifted the hood to check the engine. Riley sat inside quietly. The driver then came close to her window and said, I think there has been some issue in the engine. Wait inside as I check it out. Riley knew the end was near.
Run, bitch!
The man has probably stopped the car on his own and is now making this all up.
Run, bitch!
It's high time, and Riley needs to act.
Run!
The man again went in front of the car. Riley could hear the metal sound coming from behind the car bonnet.
Get out the car, ho!
She slowly opened the car door,
Yeah!
grabbing her bag in her hand,
Yeah!
then tiptoed to the back of the car.
Do that shit, bitch!
There were vast empty fields on one side and deep woods on the other side of the road. The driver said, Looks like we have to think of some other option, madam. I don't think this car will start tonight. If you don't mind, my house is nearby. We can go there and call the mechanics. So this is why this guy took this road, Riley thought to herself. This guy wants to lure her into the woods now and murder her like his 3 other victims.
Protect your anus,
Riley
ho!
didn't respond. She stood at the back of the car as silently as possible. Riley knew this is her only chance.
Run, bitch!
She started to hear footsteps approaching her. With every step coming close to her, Riley slid to the opposite direction. By the time the driver reached behind the car, Riley went to his side. The driver got shocked as he realized Riley was missing. He said in a confused voice, Madam, madam. Just then, he heard Riley's voice behind him. Yes? What is it? Riley said in a firm voice. Her eyes were wide and big.
Stupid bitch!
The driver got spooked for a moment.
Stupid!
He then said, we can walk to my house and call for a mechanic. Riley smirked and replied, You are not my ride, no? I booked a cab number 2009. Your cab is 2006. The cab driver smiled awkwardly and said, Well, you asked for a lift and I could use some extra cash, so I thought I'd drive you, but I took a wrong shortcut. Please don't call the cops on me, madam. Riley looked at him and said, For a moment, I thought you were the slit-throat killer. The man laughed awkwardly and said, No, madam. I am definitely not that creepy guy. Please believe me. Riley laughed and said, You are wrong again. It's not a he, but a she.
What?
The driver spoke in a terrified face. What?
What?
Riley took out her shining knife
Oh,
and
shit!
lifted her hand.
Run,
Her
nigga!
innocent face turned into a devil.
We fucked up!
She smiled in a horrible way and sliced the driver's
Run,
throat
bitch!
with one slash.
Oh!
The man felt lifeless on the floor while choking on his own blood.
Oh, damn.
She then washed her hands with a water bottle inside her bag. She always carries water with her.
These hoes
It is
ain't
better to
loyal.
wash off the blood immediately
Hoes
before it
ain't
dries
shit.
out on her skin. She pushed the body in the ditch nearby the dusty road with a kick. The high road is 5 minutes walk from there. She reached the highway and booked herself an Uber this time. It was 12 o'clock at night. Riley got inside the car and said to the driver, Drive me home. I feel tired. Next day, the news flashed. New body found near an old dusty road at the town outskirt. Cops are saying this is the 4th victim of the slit-throat killer. The victim was an Uber driver, probably coming home that night.
He was trying to smash. Come on, yo. No, my car broke down. We just gonna have to call for a mechanic at my house. I've got tea and lube just in case you want to release some steam into my face.
As he had no bookings in the record. It seems like the killer stopped his car and lured him into his trap like every other victim. The senior commissioner of police has said They are going to catch this man very soon and put him behind bars for the rest of his life. Riley sipped from her coffee cup and gave an evil smile as she watched the news, sitting on her living room couch.
Damn. Damn.
This happened last month. I am a 26-year-old male living in Atlanta. I took a side job as an Uber driver. I worked morning shift in a garage so that I can drive Uber at night. I prefer the Uber night shift because of less traffic. Anyways, one night I was finishing up a trip nearby the city mall around 8:30. It was a long summer night. I decided to take one more trip and go home to enjoy my weekend in peace. I waited near the mall to get another trip request, but I kept waiting for 10 or 15 minutes and nothing happened. Being disappointed, I thought to call it a day and return home. I lived in a small cabin at the outskirts. I took the highway and started to drive home. I put on some music and opened the car window. A cool breeze came in and gave me some relief. I lit a cigarette and kept driving in a light mood. I couldn't wait to return home and sleep till noon the next day. Everything was going fine until I reached near the highway tunnel.
Yeah, ho.
IMR Highway has a huge tunnel that connects the city with the outskirt area.
Yeah, ho.
I was almost near the tunnel. Due to the roads being completely empty, I was driving a bit faster. I was almost 10 to 15 hands distance from entering the tunnel when a man sprinted in front of my car in the bushes. I pushed the brake so hard that the car stopped, making the tires screech loudly. I got extremely scared, thinking I might have hurt that guy. My eyes kept searching for that man, but he was nowhere to be found. Suddenly, a hand grasped my shoulder from the window. At first, I was scared like hell, but then I got my shit together and looked out the window. I saw a man in his late 30s panting and gasping for air. He said in a broken voice, "Please, help me, please." I realized he is in danger or something similar. I asked him, "What is it? Why are you freaking out like this?"
That's one of the rules of surviving a scary movie, alright? Never help, ever. Never, ever. You see somebody die on us, oh my God, my baby. Oh my God, no, I'm sorry. You gotta roll the window right up, no, not my baby, bitch, and just keep driving. You can't fall for the okie doke, okay? You remember the beginning of Last of Us? That's how they got Tom. And he ain't even in Last of Us, but he did not.
The man looked here and there as if someone is out there looking for him.
Nope.
He then said in a whispering voice, "They are searching for me. Please, you must help me."
Nope.
I got out of the car and looked around. Being honest, there wasn't a single creature nearby.
What are you doing?
The wide, empty highway was filled with the sounds of crickets chirping. I stared at the tunnel to check if someone was there. The long, hollow tunnel had nothing but yellow lights in it.
White people be
I
fucking
asked
up.
the man, "Who are you searching for?" The man said in a terrifyingly low voice,
As a black man, absolutely not. I'd have been up out of that. No. See? Being friendly, you about to lose everything.
"The shadow people. They want me dead."
No.
I
See?
was out of my mind
No.
at that time.
See?
I didn't know what the hell this guy was talking about.
Nigga.
I said, "Is this some kind of a sick joke? 'Cause I'm really not in the mood right now." The man got inside the car. He sat in the driver's seat and said, "Just drive. We must leave this place right now. They're coming." I got into the car cluelessly. I told the man, "Let me call 911 for you. See, my house is on the other side of the tunnel. You can wait in my car until they arrive." The man then took out a knife from his pocket and held it near my throat. He screamed at me and said, "Just fucking drive. I'm not gonna die at the hand of those shadow people." I didn't know what to do then. I was stronger than the guy. I would have knocked him out immediately.
No, you wouldn't have.
If the knife wasn't pointed at me.
You think?
I said in a low but firm voice, "Listen, let's just relax. I will drive you wherever. You can just take the knife down." The man started screaming again. "Looks like you have no fear of death. If you don't drive right now." Before he could finish the sentence, he looked at the back of the car and became numb. He was staring like a statue. I asked, "What is wrong with you? There is no such thing called shadow people. Stop this insanity and let me call 911 for help."
Crazy people 101. If someone's talking about shadow people after him and has a knife to your throat, don't Tell him shadow people don't exist. Go along with it, stupid. Yeah, the shadow people. Yo, hey, oh my God, hey, you're right. Yo, hey, you know, matter of fact, we got to get out of here. But it's hard for me to do that with the knife on my throat. I know about the shadow people. They're after you too. Look, we got to get out of here. Be his friend, nigga. Be his friend, bitch.
Help, the man then said.
Nigga.
Oh my God, they are watching us now.
God.
I turned around to see what the hell he was talking about, looking at the backside of the car. I knew it was something made up by his crazy mind, but as I looked, my heart dropped into my stomach. Who are these people? Where did they come from? I swear, guys, there was a group of black shadows standing on the road. Nothing was visible except darkness on their entire body. The man said, "Now do you believe me? Drive, drive." I said in a panicked voice, "What the hell? Who are these people? Why do they look like that?"
Drive, you
The man
stupid
said,
son of a
"They're all dead."
I would have cut this nigga. I would have stabbed this motherfucker. If you want to deal with the shadow people, then you get out and talk to them. You conversate with them. I'm not doing it. I would have cut this nigga, kicked him out of his own car, and drove off. Say I wouldn't have. I'm not going down because somebody asked questions, damn it. There's no point in asking questions. We need action.
And now they want my soul.
Action!
The group started to walk towards our
Go!
car. I can't explain the horror, because even if there were 10 to 12 people, not a single step taken by their foot made a sound.
Run,
It felt like they were all kind of floating on the air instead of walking. I tried to start the car engine, but suddenly it didn't start. I tried again and again, but nothing happened. I was
Stupid!
completely shocked by how the car suddenly got stuck like
Damn
this.
it!
The man said in a panicked voice, "They're coming now. Please,
Run,
do
man!"
something." I twisted the car key one last time, and finally, the car started. I pressed the accelerator, and the car picked up speed. We drove into the tunnel at full speed. I looked in the rearview mirror, and there was no one behind us. I made up my mind to reach home and call 911 to hand over this freak. I was almost close to getting out of the tunnel, just when a group of black shadows appeared from the air and blocked the exit.
Drive,
I
bitch!
hit the brakes and stopped in front of
Don't
the
hit the brake!
This time, I didn't turn off the engine.
Run them
It
niggas
was hard
over!
for me to believe what I was seeing. There were no faces, no color, only black figures standing at some distance from the car. The man then screamed and said, "Why don't you leave me alone?" and started to sob like a child. What happened next still gives me chills to this day. The group suddenly opened up all their eyes at the same time. Now, there were black shadows with huge, wide eyes.
Run, bitch!
Their eyes were blood red and their pupils were pale white. I have never seen such horrifying eyes in my entire life.
Do
They all looked at the
something!
man beside me and made terrifying growls. For a second, it felt like we were being hunted by a pack of wolves. I broke free from my numbness and pressed the accelerator once again.
You
The car drove into the black shadow group and we passed through them as air blew upon us. As we made it out of the tunnel, I finally saw red and blue lights coming from the other side. I saw 3 or 4 cop cars. I didn't call for 911 yet, but I was out of all senses and rational thinking. I was, in one word, exhausted. The man in the car was still sobbing and muttering, "Please let me go. Leave me alone." I know what I faced that night might seem like a made-up story to some, but if you believe me, then I do have a rational explanation behind that vicious night. The cops came and arrested the man. They told me he is convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment for mass murder in a cathedral. He broke out of prison a few hours back, but it's still really shocking to his state of mind. The cops took him back. I later read about that man. His name was Peter Shipman. One Sunday morning, he entered a church with 2 of his followers. After the prayer ceremony, his followers locked the church door from the inside. They shot 7 men and 5 women who came to attend the prayer.
Damn!
They robbed them and escaped the area. I can't even imagine how vicious that scenario would be.
Church people ain't got no money. Why don't you go to a casino and rob them? What are you doing? Would you get $78 and a collection plate worth of change?
When he shot all those people, and left their bodies drenched in blood. But somehow, one of his followers drove their car into a tree while escaping. He died as his head bashed against the dashboard of the car. The man and his other follower ran away. Cops arrested the man under a dirty bridge. He was muttering, "Shadow people killed my partners." The body of the second follower was seen floating on the river near the bridge. Investigating officers claimed that the man killed the other partner to acquire the entire share. But if you ask me, I think it was those people's haunting spirits who took revenge on these three men. I have started day shifts in Uber now. I have decided to stay home at night for a couple of months to get over this unnatural incident. I don't know when I'll be able to go out at night again without the fear of shadow people.
Is it bad when that killer got in the car and said shadow people were after him? I thought he had pissed off some black people. I probably shouldn't be saying it now because I know it's racist, but that shit's racist, man. They're black!
This happened last year on Valentine's Day. I'm a 35-year-old male. I was working in an IT company where I met a girl. She joined the office as a fresher and started working under me as a trainee. Her name was Melissa.
Gay!
Everyone used to call her Molly. I've been an introvert since childhood. Due to my reserved nature, I hardly approach girls, even if I like someone. But Molly was completely opposite of me. She was outgoing and extremely extrovert. Anyways, due to her training, we used to spend most of the time together in the office. She was a bit younger than me. I kinda liked her carefree nature because it made me feel happy with her. One day, gathering all my courage, I asked her on a date with me. I was expecting a refusal or sudden news that she already had a boyfriend, but instead, she accepted. She told me that she always had her eye out for me, but due to my reserved nature, feared to approach me. We started going out and eventually, I shared many things with her about my life. People in the office started to pull my legs whenever Molly and I were spotted together by...
Did you share your penis with her? Doesn't sound like you did. You should've. Molly sound like baby mama material.
People in the office started to pull my legs whenever Molly and I were spotted together by them. We ignored them because we were having a nice time with each other. One day we went to the pub for a couple of drinks after office. Molly got really drunk, and she stayed at my place that day. The next day was Sunday, so I woke up late. I was going to take a shower when I heard sounds in the kitchen. At first, I thought someone broke in. So I tiptoed into the kitchen and saw Molly cooking breakfast. She smiled at me and said, "I'm making French toast. I hope you like it."
That's when I looked over and said, "Why are you wearing your clothes? Like, why are your clothes on? What are you doing?"
I got a bit surprised because I wasn't expecting her to stay till morning. After that day, things took a different turn in our relationship. Molly started to stay back at my place every now and then. I won't deny that I really liked her, but sometimes I used to feel out of space in my life. One evening, I came back home from the office. Molly took the day off that day. As I went to unlock my door, I found it already open. After entering, I saw Molly was watching TV laying at my couch. She smiled like usual and asked me how my day went. I was really awestruck this time. I asked her, "How did you get my keys?" To which she replied, "I made a copy for myself. I hope it's okay."
Damn.
I wanted to tell her it's not, but I chose not to. I should have told her that day.
He 100% has not had sex with this girl. Shame.
Anyways, she stayed the night like every other day. I was going through an important file in office when one of my colleagues came to my room and said, "Congratulations, Robert. You owe us a party." Like a completely clueless person, I stood there with a blank face. I came out of my office and noticed a small crowd of office people standing near Molly's desk surrounding her. She was smiling and blushing like a teenage girl.
Shit, she's got syphilis. Damn it! So 6th time this month. Frickin' floozies.
I thought it would be rude to ask her in front of everyone, so I confronted her when she was alone in the cafeteria. I said, "Molly, what the hell is going on?" She smiled and said, "Nothing. I just told everyone that we are a couple and are soon to be engaged." I know it was rude of me, but I laughed because I couldn't believe my ears. I said, "What? I never said anything like that to you. I mean, no offense, but I think I need more time before coming to a decision like that." I expected Molly to react in an angry way, but I never expected she would cross our limits that day. I was, after all, her senior, but she suddenly turned all pissed off and started to scream at me, saying, "Oh, really? You didn't take time to think that before jumping into bed with me?" Now, I already said I'm an introverted person, so the way Molly started a scene creating people gathered near the cafeteria, I was highly embarrassed and humiliated. I had to take a stand for myself too, because when a woman makes a comment like that about a man in a public place, the general outcome is people identify as the man at fault without even listening to his side. I looked at her with angry eyes and replied, "Molly, I never forced you onto anything. You only stole my house keys and made a copy of it. You only started to stay back at my apartment even though I never asked you to. I like you and wanted to spend more time with you so that we could know each other well, but I think I have known you enough now. Let's just cut off from whatever's going through your mind. I would prefer my freedom and peace more than anything in this world."
By the voice of the person narrating this person sounds like this is a complete and utter lie. This is that Maury type shit. You know what I'm saying? And the lie detector detected that is a lie.
Sorry, but I can't go on with this. I stormed out of the office that day. I changed my house locks the next day because I didn't want any more troubles. A week had passed and Molly avoided me, and I felt relieved that we had moved past the bitterness and can be on our own now. Our office held a party to celebrate Valentine's Day. Molly asked a guy named Sean from the tech department as her date to the party. Whether she was trying to make me jealous or maybe actually moved on, I didn't know. I asked one of my colleagues also as my date for the party. The party was happening at the office rooftop. The decorations of the party was perfectly themed on Valentine's Day. Big red hearts, balloons all over the place. There was even a small fountain pouring champagne in the right side. Everyone was dressed at their best. I saw Molly getting really drunk and dancing with her date. I sat down with some of my colleagues and started to drink too. Things were going well. Then we heard a terrible scream. I sprung up from my chair and everyone started to panic. I recognized the scream. It was Molly's voice. It took time to figure out that she was not in the party. We all started looking for her and found out she was screaming from the ladies' washroom. We all rushed towards her. As we reached the washroom, we saw a vicious sight. Sean was lying on the hallway right near the doorstep of the washroom. His head was bleeding heavily.
Oh my God.
At first, we all thought he was dead, but then one of our colleagues checked him and said, "Call an ambulance, we can still save him." Molly was sitting on the corner of the floor and sobbing like a little girl. Sean got admitted to the hospital immediately. Everyone asked Molly about what happened. She looked at me and started crying even louder. I went close to her and hugged her. Then I asked what happened.
You gotta smell her hair first. What happened? It's okay. You can tell me. They're there. All you gotta do is just tell me. Can I borrow $30?
She said Sean tried to take advantage of her and started forcing her. Out of fear, she hit him in the head with her beer bottle. Everyone at the office felt bad for her, and I took her to my place that night. I thought she is already in enough trauma, so I can show her some compassion that night. After that day, Molly again started to get close to me. I won't deny that out of sympathy, I kinda grew a soft corner for her too. Sean was still in the hospital and the office decided to file a harassment case against him. I don't know why, something just didn't seem right. Molly was happy and jolly again in no time. One day I was walking through the same hallway where we found Sean. I noticed a security camera there and an idea came to my mind. I immediately rushed to the security room and asked for footage of the Valentine's Day party. As I checked the footage, my suspicion became true. I saw Molly walking with Sean in the corridor and suddenly she lifted her beer bottle and struck him on the head. You can now guess what happened after that. I submitted those tapes to the official authority. Not only they gave Sean a clean chit, but also fired Molly. Sean even filed a complaint against her to the cops, but Molly has suddenly disappeared. Last night, I received a text from an unknown number that reads, "All I did for you, Robert, you broke my heart. I will come back to get my revenge. Till then, much love, darling." I know it's definitely from Molly. I called the cops and informed them about the text in the morning. I don't know if I'll ever see her again, but Molly, if you're watching this, stay the hell away from me. You are a disgusting person and don't you dare threaten me this time.
I have a very hard time believing that story's true. Yeah, she wanted me. Then she went and killed another guy for me. And then she came and then I had more consensual bedtime with her. And then I checked the security cameras and found out she did it. And then I told everybody and then she left.
I'll ever see her again, but Molly, if you're watching this, stay the hell away from me. You are a disgusting person and don't you dare threaten me this time.
Don't you ever threaten me this time. Your child support ain't never been about that shit. Ain't never been about that shit.
Hi,
My name is Cindy. I recently got out of therapy. Something happened a few months back that made my life miserable. I can't hardly sleep, eat, or do any normal thing. No matter where I go, a sense of fear always stood at the back of my neck. I stay in Canada. The locality where I live has a huge park at 5 to 7 minutes distance from my house. People often went there for morning workouts or calm evening walk.
Come on, Titty.
Similarly, when I felt stressed due to work or any other reason, I made a habit of going to that park for a walk. Due to its huge area, one could enjoy a peaceful time in the park easily. One evening, I was walking through the park. At some distance, I noticed a huge tree with long branches. The tree is not the only thing that caught my eyes. I also noticed someone lying on the ground right under a long branch of that tree. At first, it looked like a shiny metal thing, but when I got close, I saw it was a cell phone.
Hell yeah, free phone, baby. Take that shit to the pawn shop and cash that hoe. Money!
I looked around me thinking someone might have dropped it while walking, but at that time, I was the only one in that particular area of the park. Like a good citizen, I picked up the phone and decided to submit it to the cops on my way home. The cell phone was like any other Android phone. It had a black body and no extra feature that can stand out for identification. I was walking towards the police station while checking the phone. I didn't want to pry on anyone's privacy, but for a better understanding of the owner, I swiped the lock and the phone opened.
You are such a lying piece of shit. You know what I mean? I didn't want to invade the privacy of the owner, but I went into his phone anyway.
There was no picture on it. Even the contact list was empty. It startled me a bit that there's literally nothing in this phone that can lead to its owner. I was going to lock the screen and put it back in my bag just when I saw a few recorded videos stored in the TikTok app. I could tell that the owner recorded 3 videos to upload to TikTok, but somehow didn't. I was almost near the police station, but out of curiosity, I thought to go home and look at these videos first. I know it was that moment that made my life miserable. I got home and freshened up. I lied on my bed and played the first TikTok video from the cell phone.
Come on, Titty.
As the video began, an average-height guy appeared on the screen. He was seen walking around the park. He didn't say anything, just kept walking. After walking for a few more seconds, he reached near the tree where I found the phone. He looked up at the branch, and the video ended there. My curiosity grew more and I moved on to the next video. In the next video, the camera stood still featuring a messy bedroom. Then, the same man entered the room with a wide rope in his hand. I was completely clueless about what was happening in these videos, but I kept watching anyway. Now, I felt I could have stopped. At the end of the second video, the man looked at the camera and said, "Whoever is watching this, I will find you." And the video ended. Things started to feel very creepy now. I could tell that that man was on drugs or something because his behavior didn't appear normal to me. I lied on my bed blankly. I thought for a few seconds, should I play the last video or not? But then, I did. The last video started on the park again. It was dark all around and the video was recorded in night mode. The cell phone was kept on something, maybe a rock or a piece of wood lying on the ground. It captured the tree branch and the starry sky above it. There was no sign of the man when suddenly a rope was thrown on the tree branch. I realized that the guy was tying the wide rope on the branch. At first, it took me a few seconds to understand what he was up to, but when I did, my stomach dropped. He tied the rope into a noose. Then he looked at the camera again and smiled in a very bizarre way. I could hear him climbing on the tree after that. My heart started to race like a horse. I thought to myself, is he really going to commit suicide? But before I could hold that thought, a loud sound of a neck snapping took place, and I saw the man's foot dangling in the air. I screamed and threw the phone away. I sat on the bed for at least 5 to 10 minutes thinking about what just happened. What did I just witness? After some time, I got my shit together and picked up the cell phone. My hands were still shaking. I kept the phone inside my bag and decided to go to the cops first thing in the morning. I got highly disturbed after watching these videos. Somehow, I went to the kitchen and started making dinner. I was making fries when suddenly I felt someone was standing behind me and watching me. I immediately turned around, but there was no one. The corridor leading to my kitchen was dark and empty. I already locked my doors and windows after getting home, so I was pretty sure that it's the video that is creeping me out. I finished my dinner and went straight to bed. I had enough for that day, so all I wanted was to sleep and get rid of that cell phone the next morning. I don't know how long I slept, but suddenly I felt a touch of wind on my face. I slowly opened my sleepy eyes and saw a dark face with two wide, bright eyes leaning on me. The face was literally breathing on me, and I could feel the warm breath. I got stuck at that moment. Didn't know what to do or what was actually happening. I have never seen such wide eyes in my entire life. I thought at that moment that I would die right now, but suddenly my phone rang and I turned on my left side. It was an alarm going off, and I noticed it's 4 a.m. already. I turned back in a rush and realized there was no one around me. I looked all over the apartment, but there was no sign of any person. I heaved a sigh of relief because it was just a bad dream. I blamed myself for bringing that cell phone home and watching those bizarre videos. I couldn't sleep anymore. I waited till morning. I kept drinking black coffee just to keep me awake. There was no way I was falling asleep while that cell phone is still in my house. Around 10 a.m., I got ready and went to the police station. 2 cops were sitting inside. Seeing me in such early hours surprised them a little. One cop said, "Yes, ma'am, how can we help you?" I handed him the cell phone and said, "Please take it. I found it in the park and I know I shouldn't have, but I did go through it and it has made my life a living hell. I was fumbling and panting in fear." The other cop gave me a glass of water and said, "Ma'am, please sit down. Take a deep breath and tell us what happened." I did what he said and calmed myself down. Then I explained the entire scenario of how a man has recorded his suicide in the form of TikTok videos on this cell phone. I told them that I found this phone under the same tree where he committed suicide. The cops exchanged surprised looks among each other, and then one of them took the phone and started to check it. The other cop went through the computer on his desk and said, "But ma'am, there are no reports of suicide happening in that park so far." I was surprised to hear it, but didn't say anything. I was feeling utterly disturbed by all that happened. The cops kept asking me more questions about when I found that phone, etc., while the other one kept searching the phone. After a while, I got up and said, "I just want to go home now. I had enough. Can't take this anymore." The cop who was asking me questions replied, "Yes, I can understand the impact of such a weird incident. Don't worry, you'll be fine." I was ready to leave, just when the other cop who was checking the phone all this time got up and said, "Stop." I got shocked and said, "What happened?" The cop had a worried face. He asked in a hesitant voice, Ma'am, you said when you found this phone, it had only 3 pre-recorded TikTok videos and nothing else, right?" I replied with a confused face. "Yes, like I said, the guy who recorded those videos maybe to upload later on TikTok, but why do you ask?" The cop didn't answer my question and showed the phone to the other cop. Both of their faces got filled with worries, and I said, "Can you please tell me what's going on?" The cop replied, "Ma'am, I think we should come with you and check on your house." I was completely shocked by hearing this. Why do they need to check my house? But before I could say something, they asked me, "Do you live alone?" I replied, "Yes, I do, but officer, why are you asking me such weird questions? What does me staying alone have anything to do with this cell phone?" The cop then showed the phone to me. Along with the videos, there was also a photograph on that phone. The photo was taken last night at my own house. In that photo, I was sleeping like a dead cat. I stay alone. I was all by myself in the house last night. Then who the hell took my picture? I have changed my house, even though the cops searched it back then. I attended therapy because something deep down in my heart keeps telling me that dark face with wide eyes wasn't just a dream I had that night. I'm not a judgmental person, but this one encounter has scarred me for life. I am Selena. I work in a restaurant. I share an apartment with a colleague of mine. Her name is Tina. Tina and I both met at work. Fortunately, we were both looking for a place and it was helpful to split the rent. Working at a restaurant can be hectic sometimes. After long, tiresome days, none of us had the energy to cook dinner or even go out for it. So we used to order food whenever we felt this way. One night, after coming from work, Tina and I decided to order pizza. There was a local pizza shop at 15 to 20 minutes distance from our house.
Better not be
The
Domino's.
shop has opened recently, so Tina and I both decided to try pizza from there. I called the shop and placed our order. We started to prepare for a movie night. After half an hour, our doorbell rang. I rushed to the door because I was feeling really hungry.
Pizza!
As I opened the door, I saw a pizza delivery guy standing outside. He was wearing the delivery costume. The cap on his head was covering half of his face.
Oh my God.
He said in a cold voice, "Your pizza, ma'am." Tina came and started to pay the guy. I don't know why this guy's behavior felt very off to me. As I went to take the pizza boxes from him, he weirdly touched my hand and brushed off his fingers on my wrist. It happened so quickly and unexpectedly that I couldn't react at that moment. The man looked at me and smirked in a very creepy way. We closed the door and he left. I didn't speak about it to Tina. We watched a horror movie and ate pizza. Around 12 of that night, we went to sleep. The living room and kitchen area are in the middle of the apartment. Our bedrooms stood facing each other. From my bedroom window, the entire view of the backyard was clearly visible. There was a big tree close to my window. I liked the moonlight in the room, so I often slept without closing the curtains. I was really tired that night, and the next day was a Sunday, so I planned to sleep till late morning. I don't clearly remember how long I slept, but suddenly, a sound woke me up. The sound was like leaves rubbing against each other. I slowly opened my eyes and looked around my room. The moonlight made my room clearly visible even in the dark. I didn't see anyone in the room. I thought it might be birds or wind creating this rusty sound. So I closed my eyes and tried to sleep again. But this time, I heard the sound one more time. The sound was a bit louder this time. I got up on the bed and my eyes accidentally went to the tree outside. I don't know how to explain this, but at that moment, I realized what people mean by fear in real life. There was a dark shadow sitting on the branch of the tree. I was sure it was a man, but due to the bushy leaves, I could only see his two wide eyes. I have never seen such a scary, blood-freezing stare. Our eyes met, and I couldn't move anymore. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. I felt like the cat got my tongue. Drops of sweat started to appear on my forehead. The eyes kept looking at me without even blinking for a second. Frozen in fear, I kept sitting on my bed like a statue. Suddenly, I heard an owl hooting from that tree and broke free from that state of trance. I screamed in a loud voice, and within a second, Tina came rushing to my room. She opened the door of my room and turned on the light. I was breathing heavily. I heard a sound of a loud thud, like someone jumped from the tree. Being confused with my behavior, Tina asked in a panicked voice, "What is it, Selena? Why did you scream?" I said in a sobbing tone, "Someone was sitting in the tree and watching me sleep." I started to cry. Tina took out the flashlight and opened the window. She then searched the entire tree, but there was no one. She said in a comforting voice, "I think you just had a bad dream, Selena. Look, there's no one there." I said in the same sobbing tone, "No, you don't understand. I saw his eyes. His vicious, creepy eyes were staring at me all the time." Tina comforted me for a while and put me back to sleep. She closed the window and pulled the curtains. I somehow went back to sleep. Tina got back to her room. I felt like she didn't believe me and thought I actually dreamed all of this. But I was really sure that someone was sitting in the tree and watching me sleep. The next morning, when I woke up and went to the living room, I saw Tina shouting at someone over the phone. It took me some time to realize what she was saying. As I listened to her attentively, the hair at the back of my neck stood up in terror. Tina was telling someone, "How can you be so irresponsible? You should have called us once last night. I'm calling the cops. This is utterly terrifying for us." She then disconnected the phone and sat beside me with a terrifying face. I asked her, "What happened, Tina?" She replied in a freaked out voice, "I went to the backyard to check after you said someone broke in last night. I found this cap under the tree." She showed me the cap she picked up from the backyard. It was that same cap the creepy pizza guy wore last night. My face turned pale as I realized He watched me for God knows how long, sitting in that tree. I said, "What the fuck? We should inform the cops about this guy and also call the pizza shop. They can give us details on this guy." Tina pressed my hand and said, "I don't want to scare you, Selena, but I just got some very bizarre news from them. I called the pizza shop to complain about their employee, but what they told me has scared me too." My eyes got stuck in fear. I said in a shaken voice, "Why? What did they say?" Tina replied, "The pizza shop told me that they sent the delivery guy to deliver the pizza at our address, but the guy never reached our place or the shop. Someone knocked him out midway and stole his jacket and cap. The shop thought the guy must have delivered us and left for home, but when he didn't show up in the morning, they called the cops. The cops have found the poor guy lying unconscious in a dingy alley nearby. No one has the minimum idea who was the guy that delivered our pizza last night." I couldn't believe my ears. Tina and I immediately rushed to the police station. We saw the actual delivery guy with a bandage over his head. He was sitting there and telling the cops about what happened to him. I also told the cops how the creepy impostor behaved with me last night. I even told them how he kept watching me in the middle of the night from the tree. The cops are still looking for this man. We have described his face to the cops for identification. I don't know what his problem was, but creepy, fucked up dude who injured an innocent man and scared 2 women to death, may we never meet again.
Oh man, what she look like? Hopes her boobs don't have blood on it.
It was a late, moonless, snowy night. I heard the chilling cry of a bobcat as I arrived home from my parents' house, where we had just had Thanksgiving dinner in northern Michigan. Exhausted, I had finally made it to my bed when my pregnant girlfriend asked for nacho cheese munchies. Reluctantly, I laced up my boots and went to my car. Due to the cold, it took me a while to start the car, which only made me more irritated. But eventually I got it started, and I arrived at the convenience store to retrieve my girlfriend's mandated snack.
I love how where they live at is like so run down that the convenience store is named literally just store.
As I left the store, walking back towards the car, I saw a shadow of movement out of the corner of my eye. What looked like a person stood near the dumpster, just out of the light.
Whoa!
I stepped towards the figure.
She was doing something back there.
Ooh, baby girl,
sinister
thick.
smile.
Ooh,
Her
and
face
happy.
was so weathered.
You like that? Hold on, bro.
What, you don't?
No, bro.
She is clearly...
No, so you mean to tell me you like that and her period blood dripping out?
That's not pure blood. Man, what are you talking about?
That is some type of blood. I don't know what it
That
is.
doesn't always have to be
Nah.
bad if a girl's bleeding from her face
What?
and smiling like the Joker.
Since when is bleeding good?
She was crouched down and appeared to be chewing on something. I looked to see what she was chewing on. To my surprise, it was a severed arm. It looked
All right, so she's down to put anything in her mouth. That's good to know.
Oh, yeah, she'll bite it off, too.
Why you gotta say like that, okay? Can this be good for me? Can I have my fantasy, please? Coming in here giving me truth and like, that's the worst. I can't stand people that tell the truth.
I saw her glance at something in her pocket. I could see the outline of what looked like a pocket knife. As soon as I looked back up, she quickly charged me. I pushed her away and then ran back to the convenience store. I burst through the door and frantically yelled towards the cashier to call the police as I turned to lock it. He asked me, "What's going on?" I scowled at him and said, "Please, just call the cops." I looked back outside and saw the woman had moved across the street and was still scrutinizing me as she maintained her malevolent grin. "Look, there's a girl out there who's trying to kill me." Looking over me, he replied, "I don't see anyone out there, sir." Those words shook me, even to this day. When the police reached the gas station, they began looking around for the woman while one of the officers asked me what had happened, and I told him the details of the encounter. One of the officers came back and said he couldn't find anything. I then took them back to where I first noticed her. We spent a few minutes intently searching, but there was no proof she was ever even there. The officer cocked his head and looked at me as if I was deranged and asked me in a judgmental tone, "Are you feeling okay?" I was about to defend myself, and then I started to think. I am tired, and I have had a couple of drinks, so I just told him, "Yes, sir. Sorry for bothering you. I hope you have a nice night." And then I drove home. I got home at around 4 o'clock in the morning. My girlfriend greeted me with an angered but concerning tone of voice. She asked me,
"Where were you? Are you okay?"
So I told her everything that happened. Of course, she didn't believe me. I couldn't get to sleep.
Probably with some like that's usually what they think. I had a girl legitimately do that to me, man. She had the nerve to trick me into thinking she was about to give me mouth sex.
What?
And then all she did was smell it. And it didn't even give me the mouth sex. I'm like, you grimy.
I sat in my bed questioning my sanity, wondering if it was all even real. Am I crazy? Maybe I'm just tired. But no, that can't be it. I saw it. But if I saw it, why was there no proof? Where did the arm go? Where did she go? Before I knew it, it was 7 in the morning, and I had to go to work. I threw on my jacket as I was about to head to the construction site, and I put my hand in my pocket and noticed that there was a hole in it. It wasn't there the other day. I thought, what if she caught my jacket as I ran? Which further proves my suspicion that she was real. I couldn't believe it. My mind completely went wild until my girlfriend kissed me goodbye. I told my friends at work what had happened, and they didn't believe me either. They made jokes about it the entire day, but I had my bowling tournament that day, so that gave me something to look forward to. I got home and hung my vest and jacket up and rapidly put on my bowling shoes and got my bowling ball. My girlfriend looked at me with a pleasant smile and said,
"When will you be back?"
"Probably around 11.
Don't be long.
I won't, don't worry." At around 10:30, the tournament had finally finished and we had won. I was so thrilled I had forgotten about the woman. As we were leaving, I noticed something at the other end of the parking lot. It was that psychotic woman. We stared at each other for what felt like an eternity. She slowly started moving towards me while waving her knife in the air and making cuts. I quickly jumped into my car and turned it on. As I looked up, I saw she was standing in front of me, staring at me. She slowly walked over to my window, and she said in a quiet, deep, and scratchy voice,
Little pig, let me in.
Man, I'd have let that hoe in.
What?
Man, I'd have made Freshly Squoze and OJ out of this. I'd have unleashed my inner Chris Brown, Bobby Brown, all the Browns basically. A little bit of Ike Turner, and who's the one who beat up Michael Jackson when he was a kid?
Oh, his daddy.
I love how you say that like that was the answer. Joe Jackson. Who was the one who beat up Michael Jackson as a kid? His dad. Go say it like I'm the dumbass who didn't know.
I was frozen in fear, but I snapped back to reality when she banged on the roof of my car, screaming. I quickly slammed my foot on the accelerator and didn't let off it until I couldn't see her anymore. When I arrived home, I told my girlfriend what had happened. Like last time, she didn't believe me. I really thought I was insane, but I tried to forget about it and get some sleep. Later that night, I woke up and saw her in my room. All she said was, "Let me in," over and over as she got closer. She then started shouting,
Let me in, let me in, let me in! Let me in!
Knowing you
Come on, Paul. Stop being difficult.
I was wondering how in the world my girlfriend hadn't heard this going on. The woman was right next to me and held up a knife to me. That's when I fainted. I woke startled in my room, dripping with sweat. Then I remembered I don't have a girlfriend, nor a house, or a family.
Come on, Paul. Time for your morning meds. Let me in.
I'd have fought that hoe.
It was all in your head though. Who you gonna fold? The air? Who you finna fold?
I was out doing a delivery one late night. It was probably the longest drive I had ever taken for a pizza delivery. From the pizza place I worked at, it was a 20-minute drive, which isn't too crazy out where I live. Plus, they ordered 4 large pies, so I figured it was a party and I would get a much bigger tip. Navigating the dirt roads at night was always annoying though.
What?
I pulled up to the given address. It was some old, sketchy-looking building, literally in the middle of a forest clearing.
Why does that turn me
There were
off?
no cars parked anywhere, or any lights on.
It's kind of hot.
I put my car in park and called my boss. I asked him to reread the address at least 3 times to make sure I typed it in right, but that checked out. I could tell he was in a really bitchy mood, and he told me to at least knock on the door and check it out. He would normally get mad if we took back 1 pie, but I was afraid of what he would do if I brought back 4.
He's gonna beat you in your ass.
I was insanely unnerved, but got out anyway and forced myself to the front door of the building. There was no doorbell, so I just knocked really hard. I heard nothing and didn't really expect to hear anything. I was extremely disappointed, not because nobody answered the door, but because I was realizing that it was all a waste of time and gas. I knocked 1 more time out of desperation, and then began to hear some kind of rustling noises from inside of the building.
Word? Come on, titties.
I knocked again and yelled that I was the pizza guy. There was silence now. I felt a bit more uncomfortable now than before.
Yeah, sexy
but before I could turn around, I noticed something at the window. There was someone looking through the window. I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. All I noticed were their eyes.
No!
Their eyes were open wider than I knew possible.
No!
Staring intently at me.
No!
I was disturbed enough by this and dropped the pizzas and ran back to my car.
Yeah,
The shitty thing wouldn't start until turning the key for the 3rd time.
Shit!
I drove off the grass and back onto the dirt road, but I felt the car rocking about, shaking and bumping. Something wasn't right. I didn't make it far from the building before I started hearing a sharp scraping sound coming from outside.
Would you shit on yourself?
There was so much resistance that I couldn't even drive.
Don't shit on
The
yourself.
car came to a stop. I got out of the car to check what the hell was wrong. A chill ran up my spine as I began to feel like my heart was constantly skipping beats. My tires had been slashed and had completely fallen off the rim.
Yo!
Not just the front though. All 4 tires were slashed.
Hey, you done ride that?
I realized somebody did this when I was knocking on the door to that building.
I ride
Instead
that.
of running, I got back in the car and locked the doors.
You better
I was
go
so
drive the
close
whip,
to that
nigga.
building, I could practically see it from where I was.
Go drive
If
the
it weren't
whip.
for the trees blocking the view. I dialed 911 and explained everything to the operator. She told me the cops would be over as soon as possible and that I need to stay hidden.
Go drive the whip.
I asked her if it was advisable to stay in the car or run.
Run?
And she told me it would be best to stay in the car with the door locked.
Really?
She asked me to stay on the line with her until the cops arrived.
You better hide.
My whole body was shaking. In all directions, there was nothing but dark, seemingly endless forest. I knew it would take forever for the cops to get there. I was not comfortable with sitting in that car so close to whoever did this.
You better get under
The
something.
next part, though, is what utterly destroyed me.
Shit.
It still shakes me to this day,
Can it
and I
not?
hope nobody ever has to experience this kind of fear.
Please let it not. Don't kill me.
As I was scanning all the windows, making sure nobody was outside,
I'm
I
scared.
looked in the rearview mirror, and there was the same person. The same person I saw at that window.
He's black.
Eyes open wider than ever.
He's black.
I could see now that it was a woman,
Oh.
and I could ever so slightly see a smile begin to spread across her face.
She's horny. Definitely
I
horny.
opened my door and full on sprinted
Yeah,
into the
she's
woods,
ugly.
not caring how much noise I made.
She's ugly.
I ran until I was out of breath, which didn't take long, and I hid behind a giant log on the ground.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I
want to do
tried to
that one
cover my
either.
loud breathing with my hand as I waited and waited for what felt like hours until I finally heard sirens in the distance.
I had a stripper do this to me this one time. She didn't slash my tires, but she did throw me out of her speeding vehicle in California.
I gathered up all the stamina I had left to run all the way back in the direction of the dirt road. Eventually, the glowing red and blue lights came into view, and I had never felt better in my life.
Yep.
They were parked in front of my car, investigating with flashlights.
Distract you from my
I came
story.
out
This is
yelling
good.
at them like a lunatic to help me. I fell to the floor and started to gag, almost throwing up from running so much. They picked me up and began to question me, to which I explained everything to the best of my ability.
I'm lung shot.
One of the two cars drove over to the building, and the two officers began to search the building.
Yeah, steal shit.
They came back with nothing except for a couple of spiky objects. These objects were exactly the same as the ones used to slash my tires. The cops guessed that it was some kind of sick, demented couple, being that I saw the woman, but unfortunately they were never found. And that still kills me to this day.
Trying to do butt stuff on them.
I obviously quit my job right after that and started working at a local grocery store. I know that I'll never forget seeing that woman at the back of my car.
Nobody wants butt stuff. Horrible. Horrible way to go. What? She's naked. Her teats are out. And there's no titty meat. It's just titty. It's
I
just
recently
nipple.
moved out, and I already have a horror story to tell.
Horrors?
The house I moved into isn't anything impressive. It's just a house that's appropriate for 1 or 2 people.
Y'all mean strippers?
But I'd say right away, I started hearing weird sounds coming from inside the walls.
Strippers are not
I first
whores.
heard it in the kitchen, and then in the bathroom. But on night 3, I started hearing it in my bedroom.
Word?
I was sure there was some kind of animal living in my walls. I just had to figure out how to get rid of it.
Maybe it's a Mexican.
The next morning, I didn't even have enough milk to fill the bowl of cereal.
Or a Unipuma.
I couldn't believe I hadn't realized I needed more milk.
Or an Australian.
In fact, I seemed to be eating up all of my food pretty fast.
Or Peruvian, honestly.
I woke up in the middle of that night to the sound of breathing.
At least it's not an Englishman.
Not my breathing. It sounded just like the breathing of a person.
Is he beating his meat?
I flipped the lamp on and it stopped. I chalked it up as my mind playing tricks on me after waking up. The next day was really hot, so I turned on the AC for the first time. I checked every single vent, and some of them weren't blowing any air.
Ooh, you was getting
One
blown?
of them being the vent right next to my bed. I peered through the vent with a flashlight. There wasn't even a duct behind the vent.
You got ducks?
It was just the inside of the wall.
Y'all didn't got a duck infestation?
It seemed that whatever air duct was in there had been removed.
Oh, air ducts.
Unfortunately, I didn't look into the air conditioning system while buying the house,
Ducks that can
so
fly.
I didn't know about
Makes
this.
sense. Makes sense.
That night, I had to sleep in the heat with no AC.
Oh,
So
shit.
I was up pretty late, constantly rolling around and flipping the pillow over.
Terrible.
Then I eventually started to hear the breathing again.
Bitch.
But this time, I was fully awake.
Breathing.
I knew it was real this time.
Bitch.
It was coming to my left.
Oh.
I looked to my left at the air vents.
Who's breathing my
The
air?
sound was surely coming from in there. I grabbed the flashlight again and shined it in through the vent.
Motherfucker, what?
I dropped it and screamed. There was someone's face peering through the cracks of the vents.
Ow!
The first thing I saw were their eyes, open wide and glowing.
Oh!
I screamed all the way down and out the house. I soon found out there was a crazy, dangerous homeless man living in my walls, and he had been eating my food ever since I moved in.
Bitch, what? You eating my toaster strudel, bitch? I'll cut you. I'll cut your old ass. I'll cut an old person. I lie. I just have to change the story around in the story time. But I'll cut. Hey, look. Hey, my toaster strudel. That's sentimental value. Huh? I got emotional support.
I was doing some
strudel
night hog hunting in the
fridge.
woods near my
You know what I'm
backyard.
saying?
I was hiding in the tower I had built about a decade ago.
Very hungry.
In case anyone's wondering, I of course had a night vision scope attachment. I guess I'm what you would consider a hardcore hunter. I don't want to bore you with the unnecessary story prolonging details, so I'll make this short.
Good
And I
idea.
want everyone to know that though I agree this story sounds far-fetched and crazy, it is nothing but the truth.
And
And
only
I, in
the
a
truth.
way, actually consider myself lucky that I'll always have such a horrifying story to share. So, while I was sitting in the tower waiting for movement, it finally came. I took aim and found the source. But it wasn't at all a hog, or any kind of animal I was expecting. It was a person, a man wearing all black. Black sweatpants, black shoes, and a black hoodie with the hood over his head. But that wasn't the freakiest part. He was dragging a sack behind him. My heart started racing. I was pretty sure I was witnessing this guy trying to bury a body. I continued to watch him, but then he slowed down, and I swear to God, it looked as if he turned his head up to me.
Oh, shit.
I ducked down under the wooden walls of the tower, shaking in my boots. Yes, I had a gun, but just the idea of using it against a person is horrifying.
Not if it's a leg shot.
I lay low, praying to God that he hadn't seen me.
The baby, this
It wouldn't
nigga.
make sense if he could, though. It's practically pitch black out here. Or at least, that was my logic.
Self-defense, bitch.
Seconds felt like an eternity as I waited for the footsteps in the leaves to move elsewhere.
He's still
I
moving.
didn't
Shoot
hear
him
any
again.
footsteps. All I heard was the sound of a foot hitting one of the wooden planks on the ladder of the tower.
Yep.
I felt the entire tower vibrate and shake as there were 2 more steps moving up the ladder.
Nothing worse than the vibrator.
At this point, I was asking myself deep down, am I going to be able to shoot someone?
Gotta make it deep.
But for some reason, whoever was down there decided not to climb all the way up, as I heard them jump back down to the forest ground and began dragging the sack away.
Dragging the
I
sack
think I
is
stayed
not good.
frozen like a statue for at least 10 minutes before even peeking over the ledge again.
Frozen like a TV
The
dinner.
coast seemed clear.
Gotta do that.
I had to get home and warn the police immediately.
You on the coast?
I hopped over the ledge and descended down the ladder. I turned on my pocket flashlight, which in hindsight was a stupid move considering the situation, and ran back in the direction of my house.
Terrible move.
I was only able to run for about 10 seconds or so when I heard the rapid, manic footsteps crunching the leaves from behind me. I took a look over my shoulder, and there he was, inches away from my face. I spun around and shot him in the shoulder. He stopped and screamed in agony, and I took that moment to finish my dash to my house.
Shoot him again!
Again, in hindsight, I should have held him hostage somehow, but that doesn't even matter now. I called the police, who showed up within 15 minutes with a whole search squad, and I led them all into the woods to the exact location where I shot him.
It doesn't matter.
There was a faint yet noticeable blood trail spilled onto the leaves, which led past the body bag, which the cops
meth
seized,
residue
and eventually right to the
everywhere.
maniac, who was hiding under a log next to a tree. He was arrested and tried for the murder of Jin-Quen Sakanaki, a Japanese corner store owner. I don't know the full story behind it, but I do know I won't forget this one for the rest of my life.
You gonna murder the
And
owner
I'll
of
also
the
be telling
7-Eleven?
it for the rest of my life.
Man, you gonna murder the owner of the 7-Eleven, bro. Where else we gonna get rap snacks at? You know what I'm saying? Nobody else got no flaming hot Funyuns? You know what I mean?
I'll never forget
need...
the time me and my brother snuck out past our bedtimes to explore an allegedly haunted house down the block.
Word?
Yes, I said bedtime, as I was only 10 and my brother Luke was only 12. When our parents said goodnight to us, I went to Luke's room and we took a couple hand-powered flashlights with us and hopped outside through the window.
Nope.
Luckily, his room was on the first floor.
No.
Those hand-powered flashlights worked by constantly pushing in a little trigger that would create light inside the lens. They were noisy as hell, but they were convenient. Once we were outside, we just walked down the block, and in 2 minutes we were there. It was rumored by all the neighborhood kids and teens that the place was haunted. Everything about it was creepy. The older, more antique design of the house, the isolation from the rest of the houses, and the broken windows and rotting wood. It seemed perfect for a horror movie. We went around to the backyard. This was all my curious and confident brother's idea. I was scared shitless. The door was locked, as expected. I felt a bit of relief, thinking we might just go home, but my brother made a shocking move next. He grabbed a plank of wood laying in the grass and began smashing the already chipped window.
Yeah, do that.
Eventually, there was enough of an opening to unlock it and slide it up completely.
Yeah, ho.
We hopped inside and began cranking those noisy-ass flashlights.
Yeah, crank that shit.
Immediately after entering the house, we both picked up on the fact that it was like 90 degrees in there.
Why?
Which was odd, as it was a September night in the mid-70s. There was no graffiti or anything anywhere. In fact, it was relatively empty besides a few pieces of furniture that were clearly not worth taking along.
Airbnb
It
that
seemed
hoe.
we were the first to enter the house, shockingly, or at least from the back.
Never.
We went upstairs to the main floor from the little den area and continued cranking the flashlights. That's when we heard the slightest crack in the floorboards from right above us.
No.
We both jumped. I tugged for Luke to leave, but he told me the place is old as hell. It's just house noises. I stopped cranking the flashlight at this point, and I urged Luke to do the same, but he only called me stupid for suggesting something so ridiculous. Then there was another crack in the floorboards from above us. He began walking upstairs. I didn't want to go up there, but I was not about to stay down there alone. I followed behind him to the upstairs. There was a door that led to a room right above where we were standing.
Nope.
I begged him not to open it, but he must have just wanted to be the big, tough older brother. He began to reach for the doorknob while still cranking the noisy flashlight, but then he stopped. I was confused. I could see in the dark he was moving his ear up against the door, listening for something. Silence. Then, the most deafening, nightmare-inducing moment of my life. A single bang on the door from the other side sent my brother staggering into the wall in pain, covering his ear. We dropped the flashlights and ran straight out the back door and back home. We were so loud when we got back that our parents found us out. We told them what happened, but they naturally didn't care and grounded us both for a week. 2 nights later, I woke to the sound of something from outside my window and a glare of brightness sneaking in through my slightly opened blind. I sat up, and my heart sank when I realized it was the sound of the crank to my flashlight. I stood up and looked out the window, and that's when it stopped. There was nothing but complete blackness out there after that. I woke the next day barely remembering what happened, and I still hope today that that part was just a dream.
Yeah, it was all a dream. You almost died in your own room. It wasn't clean. You was talking crap. You about to get yourself in a magazine. Probably hung up on the wall. Killer gonna cut your sack.
This story took
and hang
place a
up your
long
scrotum
time
on the
ago,
wall.
back in 2002, when Craigslist was in its early years. Many wouldn't know, but back in those days, Craigslist was a lot different. It was a lot more so an online garage sale, or just a place where people would list old things that still had some value that they were willing to give away. I got a basketball hoop, a hockey net, and a spoiler for my car, all free in perfect condition in that same year. You'd be lucky if you found something like that these days.
Yep, free stuff.
Anyway, me and my son were dying to buy a hockey net so we could practice in the cul-de-sac we lived in.
Yep, can't have a
For the
cold
record,
sack.
this was before I got that free one I mentioned.
I don't want a cold sack.
Wouldn't you know it, on Craigslist there was an ad for a slightly used regulation-size hockey goal for only $50.
It's like the
It
cup
came
of
with a
blue
puck
balls.
and 2 slightly used hockey sticks. I still have a picture of that ad to this day. It seemed like the perfect deal, but he lived about 2 hours away. I called the number he had listed, and he sounded pretty normal on the phone. He had a pretty deep, dark voice, but nothing that would be off-putting. I remember his voice being a bit emotionless. He agreed to meet halfway due to the distance, said he'd put the stuff in the back of his pickup truck. He said he could only come after he got off from work though, which was much later in the day, way past dark. We agreed to meet at some rest stop off the highway. Me and my son, who was 11 at the time, took my wife's minivan, the only car that would be able to fit that huge thing. Within an hour, we were at the truck stop, which was empty at this hour, but was decently lit by 3 big light posts. I parked right under one of the lights and waited. A pickup truck pulled in off the highway right on time. He stopped right in front of me. I went over to his window, but then noticed there was nothing in the back of his truck. "You Steve?" he asked me. "Yep, that's me," I said. "Alright, my buddy's bringing in the stuff with his truck." The guy pulled up behind my car and put it in park. I suddenly had a bad feeling. I told my son to get back in the car and lock every door except mine. 2 more pairs of headlights came off the highway into the lots. surely enough pulling up next to me. And not surprisingly at this point, there was no hockey equipment in either one of them. My heart was racing. I was worried. Not for me, but for my young son who I for some reason brought with me on this trip.
Drive off!
A group of large men mixed with heavy-set and muscular physiques stepped out of the 2 pickup trucks behind the first one.
You stay there?
They eyed me from head to toe, giving that typical intimidation stare down.
No one's this dumb.
Then this bald guy wearing sunglasses said in a deep voice, "Where's the money?" I instantly pulled out my wallet and handed it to him, begging him to just let me and my son go.
There's no way you're
He pulled out like $100 and was pissed, expecting more. He then sent 2 of his goons or whatever to get my son. At this point, I screamed and begged for him not to take him. One of the men broke the glass to the minivan back door, and I vividly remember the disturbing, heartbreaking screams of my young son. What happened next was what I can only explain to be a miracle from God answering my prayers. A car was entering the lot from off the highway. All the men stopped and turned to look at it. As it got closer, my heart literally dropped in excitement as I saw it was a police car. The lights suddenly began to flash as he got close enough to see what was going on. All of the men were back in their trucks within seconds, speeding off down the highway. Well, at least 2 of them. The truck in the back was caught immediately by the police car, and backup arrived shortly. I explained everything to them, and they got the men that were caught to rat out on the others surprisingly quickly. I guess luckily the guys in the back truck weren't very loyal to whoever their leader was, if they even had any type of leader. Believe it or not, I had a police escort all the way home to make me and my son feel safer. I don't want to get into all the legal stuff, but I'll just say that all of those men except for one was caught, and I'm pretty sure that was the driver of the first pickup truck. Needless to say, my Craigslist days weren't over at that point, but I have always been much more protective of my son and much more cautious of Craigslist meetings since then.
He a dumbass. Why would you not get in your car and just drive off? Or something, like, you see him pull up with nothing and you just gonna stand there. Oh, maybe they're bringing me sweet treats and Lipton brisk lemonade. Like, nigga. It ain't brisk.
There was once an isolated island off the coast of Scotland where 3 lighthouse keepers lived and were responsible for keeping the building intact. One day, when their monthly supply ship dropped in, the island was silent. No response from the lighthouse keepers. Eventually, the captain and some crew members went to investigate and found a disturbingly empty lighthouse. 2 of the 3 waterproof coats were missing from their hangars, and the kitchen was left in a state as if people had left in a hurry. The lighthouse log only added more mystery to the situation. The log described how one of the keepers wouldn't talk, and the other continuously cried for hours. All this pain and fear seemed to be coming from what was referred to as a powerful storm looming in the distance. However, this begs the question, why were they so scared of a simple storm? They should have been safe in the brand new lighthouse, right? The log goes on to talk about how they all sat close together and prayed for the storm to be over. The final log states, "The storm has passed, the skies are calm, and God is over all." Their bodies were never found, and the cause of their death is still a mystery to this day.
Damn.
The most accepted theory is that they somehow got swept out to sea during the storm, never to be seen again. But one final detail remains, one that scared the captain and his crew to the bone. The powerful storm described in the log didn't exist. There were no storms reported in the area. In fact, the skies were calm all day.
Damn. Oops, 7-Eleven night shift story.
It was 2 years ago. I was called in to do the night shift, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. at 7-Eleven, since somebody called out. The store was located on a busy road in a rather quiet and rural area. During the night shift, you could expect anywhere from 10 to 20 people come in to buy a beer or something else. This one particular night, there was this one guy, mid-20s, that came in. He started making weird noises, like loud yelling noises. I assumed he had some kind of mental disability. In fact, my brother has a mental disability, so I immediately felt sympathy for the guy.
He ain't stupid.
He walked up to the counter without any items, with his head facing me, but his eyes were looking up at the ceiling. I felt uncomfortable. I honestly didn't know how to deal with it. I tried speaking with him, but he only responded in loud noises. I kept checking if he was with someone outside, but he was alone. There weren't any cars in the parking lot, so I assumed he walked.
You from the zombie apocalypse,
He stood there for so long, looking up at the ceiling and making noises, that I tried to get him out by handing him a bag of chips and telling him he can go. I tried finding some kind of number to call for someone to help him. Then, out of nowhere, he finally turned around and walked out of the store. I felt so horrible for the man, but at the same time, I felt a bit creeped out. About an hour later, the phone on the counter rang. I picked up to hear the familiar yelling sounds of the man from earlier. It caught me off guard. I didn't know what to think, other than this has to be some kind of prank. I hung up on them and was now becoming paranoid of my surroundings, constantly checking the outside through the windows. Come 4 o'clock, the person working after me came in, finally allowing for me to go home. It wasn't my problem anymore. I got home and threw all my stuff on the table, ready to get to sleep. But my phone rang within a minute after entering the door. I felt a chill run down my spine. Why would someone be calling at 4 a.m.?
Yeah, you ain't got no girlfriend.
I could only imagine it was bad news.
Maybe it's the hoes.
I braced myself and picked up the phone to hear the man again. I felt sick to my stomach as I listened to the loud noises he made. I struggled to slam the phone to the receiver. All night, I felt like I was being watched, even with all the blinds shut. And I could swear I heard strange noises coming from all over my house. I refused to get any sleep until the sun came up. Weeks passed and I had forgotten about the incident, until one day, when going into the basement for the first time in a while, I found that papers had been scattered all over the floor, and when I went into the basement closet, I found writing on the walls. 7-Eleven had been written in Sharpie on the wall, along with the address to the 7-Eleven I worked at and my house address.
Who's this guy trying to have
The most
sex with
disturbing part,
7-Eleven?
I also found various kitchen knives, along with a large pocket knife sitting in the closet. What started
Kitchen
out
knives?
as seemingly just an innocent person turning into something of a prank ultimately turned into something much more horrifying.
What's really hood, ho?
He had been living down there for God knows how long, and I'm just grateful that, for whatever reason, he changed his mind and left, because I haven't seen or heard from him since.
That's good.
All I can say is that man is dangerously ill.
I've been stabbed twice. Once in the head and once in the back. You know what I mean?
About 5 years ago, I lived downtown in a major city in the US. I've always been a night person, so I would often find myself bored after my roommate, who was decidedly not a night person, went to sleep. To pass the time, I used to go for long walks and spend the time thinking. I spent 4 years like that, walking alone at night, and never once had a reason to feel afraid. I always used to joke with my roommates that even the drug dealers in the city were polite. But all of that changed in just a few minutes of one evening. It was a Wednesday, somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning, and I was walking near a police-patrolled park quite a ways from my apartment. It was a quiet night, even for a weeknight, with very little traffic and almost no one on foot. The park, as it was most nights, was completely empty. I went down a short side street in order to loop back down my apartment when I first noticed him. At the far end of the street, on my side, was the silhouette of a man dancing.
Man,
it was
that's
a
a
strange
woman.
dance, similar to a waltz, but he finished each box with an odd forward stride. I guess you could say he was dance walking, headed straight for me. Deciding he was probably drunk, I stepped as close as I could to the road to give him the majority of the sidewalk to pass me. The closer he got, the more I realized how gracefully he was moving.
Man, he ain't trying
He
this
was
shit on
very
no black
tall
guy.
and lanky and wearing an old suit.
Try this shit on
He
a black
danced
guy.
closer still until I could make out his face. His eyes were open wide and wild, head tilted back slightly, looking off at the sky.
Never mind, that's
His
kind of
mouth
scary.
was formed in a painfully wide cartoon of a smile.
That's kind of scary.
Between the eyes and the smile, I decided to cross the street before he danced any closer. I took my eyes off of him to cross the empty street. As I reached the other side, I glanced back, and then stopped dead in my tracks. He had stopped dancing and was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly parallel to me.
What's really hood, bitch?
He was facing me, but still looking skyward, smile still wide on his lips. I was completely and utterly unnerved by this. I started walking again, but kept my eyes on the man. He didn't move. Once I had put about half a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty. Still unnerved, I looked back to where he had been standing to find him gone. For the briefest of moments, I felt relieved, until I noticed him. He had crossed the street and was now slightly crouched down. I couldn't tell for sure due to the distance and the shadows, but I was certain he was facing me. I had looked away from him for no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear that he had moved fast. I was so shocked and I stood there for some time, staring at him, and then he started moving toward me again. He took giant, exaggerated, tiptoed steps, as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up on someone, except he was moving very, very quickly. I'd like to say at this point that I ran away or pulled out my pepper spray or cell phone or anything at all, but I didn't.
You better show me a gun.
I just stood there, completely
you better show me a knife or a gun or something, bro. I'm not running from no unarmed human, bro.
And then he stopped again, about a car length away from me,
still
good. Smiling his smile, still looking to the sky.
Face having motherfucker.
When I finally found my
Joker
voice,
smile, bro.
I blurted out the first
This
thing
nigga look
that
like
came
an
to mind.
unemployed Joker impersonator.
What I meant to ask was, "What the fuck do you want?"
You good,
in an angry, commanding tone. What came out was a whimper.
Oh, so you scared? So you feminine?
Regardless of whether or not humans can smell fear,
Nah,
I
he
can
feminine.
certainly hear it. I heard it in my own voice, and that only made me more afraid. But he didn't react to it at all. He just stood there, smiling. And then, after what felt like forever, he turned around, very slowly, and started dance walking away. Just like that. Not wanting to turn my back to him again, I just watched him go, until he was far enough away to almost be out of sight. And then I realized something. He wasn't moving away anymore, nor was he dancing. I watched in horror as the distant shape of him got bigger and bigger. He was coming back my way. He was coming back my way, and this time he was running.
Please.
I ran too.
Please.
I ran until I was off the side road and back onto a better lit road with sparse traffic.
Please do this. Please.
Looking behind me then, he was nowhere to be found. The rest of my way home, I kept glancing over my shoulder, always expecting to see his stupid smile, but he was never there.
I've had a group of 4 dudes try to do this to me.
That,
I had a group of 3 guys try to do this to me.
There was something about his face that always haunted me. He didn't look drunk. He didn't look high.
Yeah, he looked crazy.
He looked completely and utterly insane.
Yeah, please look insane. Yeah.
And that's a very, very scary thing to see.
Oh yeah. I'm only scared of ghosts, man. I ain't scared of no humans. If you see me in real life, please give it your best shot. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and go for it, man. I do charge $50 per stupid shit.
So me and a couple of my buddies went camping last summer alongside the Willamette River.
I'm gonna get my money.
We actually had a decent hike.
You know, I take clothes, shoes,
we did some night fishing,
girlfriends as payment,
and basically drank to the point where everything was funny later in the night. I would guess we finally called it a night somewhere past 2 a.m. I shared a tent with one of my buds, while the other 2 shared another tent. We heard them laughing about something. At first we laughed at the sound of their laughing, but it soon got annoying and we yelled for them to shut up.
Oh.
One of them responded, "It isn't us."
Suck a dick, nigga. Oh.
I sat up, startled at the response.
That's what I would have said.
I came to realize that it was the sound of only one person.
Hey, shut up, bitch!
And it didn't sound like either one of my friends. Even in my drunk state, I realized how odd it was for somebody to be out this far in the woods so late at night.
Okay, this is weird. I might
The
run
laughing
from this.
gradually got closer and louder to our campout. My friend shot up and looked at me with a worried look on his face.
Pull out the gun.
I heard my other friends scream over to us that they were getting freaked out. As the laughing got even closer, I could make it out very clearly to be the laugh of a male, probably in his 30s or 40s.
I don't know, we gotta go. Run.
It sounded like he was as drunk as us, messing around with friends. But we only heard his laugh, nobody else. There was something indescribably creepy about his laugh, too.
Yeah, no duh.
As if it was missing something to it.
Sanity?
You had to be there to understand what I mean. The laughing was now just at the edge of our campsite.
All of y'all get into the same tent and get
But we
ready
couldn't
to
hear any
jump this dude.
footsteps at all. Now that may not seem like a big deal. It was impossible to move through that without making noise. And finally, all of a sudden, the laughing stopped completely.
Y'all ain't gonna jump him?
We had no idea where whoever that was standing, as he hadn't made a single stepping sound. We sat there in silence looking at each other. My friend was clearly freaking out, but he was keeping it together the best he could. Finally, something broke the silence. The sound of something rubbing against the cottony fabric of the tent. We saw the outline of a hand through the moonlight, pressing on the tent. We both screamed at the top of our lungs before getting out of the tent. We ran as fast as we could through the woods, our other friends following us. After about 5 minutes of running, we somehow found our car. I actually puked from running so much before taking the wheel. I don't condone drinking and driving, but I still believe we were just in this situation. By far the most horrific experience of my life. No idea who or what the hell that was, or what they wanted.
Yeah. Don't lose your virginity, man. I mean, not your butt virginity. You know, never give up your
I was
black
having
cherry.
a horrifying dream, possibly the most disturbing nightmare of my life. I was in my house, or the closest thing to my house that my dream could produce.
Show your pussy,
Ironically enough, I was in bed in this dream, or at least I can only start remembering past the point of my lying in bed. And all of a sudden, the sound came from downstairs. I walked downstairs in the dark, not turning on any lights, to where I thought the sound was coming from. I was on my middle floor now.
Do this to me, bro.
The dream was telling me to go downstairs to my laundry room,
Come on,
and so I
baby.
did. But as I got there, expecting the noise to be louder and closer, it sounded like it was just as far as before. Now I was going upstairs to the kitchen, and it's strange, outside of every window was complete blackness, not general nighttime darkness. There was nothingness. I think all that existed in this dream was my house. Now my dream started to suggest that the banging sounds were coming from upstairs, so I went back upstairs and was eventually led to the attic door. It was surely beyond that door. I opened it. There was an old woman standing by a bunch of boxes. She was slowly but loudly slamming her hand on one of the boxes, producing an unnatural sound. I tried to quietly step back away from the attic, but the old woman turned around, opened her mouth twice as wide as anyone humanly could, reached out her arms, began to scream, and leap toward me. That's when I woke up. I thought it was just a horrific dream, but when I heard a bang coming from downstairs, a bang similar to what I heard in my dream, I felt my heart completely drop. On my way downstairs, there was another bang. It was the front door. I got the butcher knife from my knife holder in the kitchen and crouched behind the door. I was waiting for the next time he would pound on the door and I would warn him to go away. I waited for a good minute in silence and finally decided to take a quick look through the window. There was somebody standing in my driveway. I couldn't tell if he was facing me or looking at me or not, but he was surely the one who was pounding on my door at 4 a.m. He walked away down the sidewalk moments after he must have noticed me. The pounding on my door was the kind of pounding you would expect from someone trying to break in a door, not to get a house owner's attention. I thought it was just crazy and horrifying that the pounding and banging from this potential robber or killer didn't wake me up, rather became the key point to a horrifying dream.
That if she opened the door, he would jump on her. Oh my God, that's wild. That was scary. That one scared me. And I'm scare proof. I'm so brave.
I was 19 years old at the time, working at a sketchy motel. The motel was pretty run down, and the majority of people who stayed there were locals that were just doing things they weren't supposed to be doing. Let's just say the cops came by multiple times a week.
Somebody got shot?
I worked as both a front desk person, checking in these creeps all hours of the night, and as a housekeeper who got to clean up their nasty, vomit-smelling rooms afterwards. One afternoon, I was working as a housekeeper in the second building of the motel on the backside furthest from the office. I hated working over there because it not only had the most worn-down rooms, but it was always pretty vacant over there and way too quiet for comfort. I began cleaning one of my last rooms and wanted to get done in a hurry because it was getting late. I was washing the mirror in the room that I was cleaning when all of a sudden, I saw a man in the reflection staring at me. He was mid-50s, dirty, with long, greasy hair. Startled, I screamed, "Oh my God." I told him he scared me. The room I was currently cleaning was vacant, so there was no reason why this man should have been in there watching me clean. However, we just had a meeting on customer satisfaction, and my boss was really pressuring us to be more polite and help the guests any way we could.
Because nothing's more satisfactory when I ram the business end of
can
this
I get you
pin
anything? Towels?
right up your gabba.
The man just stared back at me with a crooked grin and held out his hands to me. I thought maybe he was handing me a tip for cleaning his room earlier, but when I looked down, I saw he was holding a $100 bill.
Word?
Alarm started going
my
off in my
breast
head.
now.
No one tips $100 on a $40 a night room.
$100, you can
The
touch
man just
my
smiled
my,
and said his name was Terry.
my breast.
He said he was staying in the room next
Touch
door
my
with
titty.
his wife Sherry and sort of joked about their names rhyming. He smelled like car oil and alcohol. When I asked him why he was trying to hand me $100, he laughed deep in his throat and said, "Me and my wife were watching you, and we just wanted to have fun with you." I felt like my heart jumped into my throat. No, I can't do that, sir, I'm sorry. I wanted to run out of the room screaming, but he was blocking the door, my only exit. The man smiled again, taking on a softer tone of voice, and invited me to come into his room to meet his wife, just to talk as friends. I nervously told him no again, and that I had a lot of work to do for the day. I prayed to God he would just go away, and eventually he did. He grunted and walked off in what I assumed to be the direction of his room. My mind began racing. There is no wife, I thought. This man could try and kidnap me. I was 110 pounds at the time and not very strong. He could easily overpower me. I locked the room from the inside and went directly to the phone to call my manager at the front desk, but the phone wasn't working. Adrenaline began pumping through my veins, and despite what I was always told not to do, I was panicking. Did he cut the line? No, I thought. This is a crappy motel. It happens all the time. But I just have to get out. I remembered that I had my cell phone out on my housekeeping card, but that was outside the locked door. I'd have to open the door to get it. I cautiously opened the door to the room that I was cleaning and peered out. I didn't see anyone, so I frantically began searching my cart for my cell phone.
Yeah, you good?
I was wasting too much time looking for it, so I just decided to run as fast as I could and make a break for the front desk in the office. Then from behind me, I heard the man again, but this time he was screaming to someone else, "She's running, she's getting away." I could hear his shoes slamming against the pavement after me. I quickly turned the corner, grabbed my key card, and let myself into a stockroom and locked the door.
What are they going to do, sell
Within
her?
moments, I heard the sound of the dirty guy and someone else running outside, searching for me. I stayed in that stockroom for 30 minutes shaking until I could no longer hear him searching for me. I finally got the courage to run the rest of the way to the front desk. When I made it there, I collapsed into my boss's arms and he called the police. The man and whoever else was in the room with him peeled out before the cops could arrive. To run the rest of the way to the front desk. When I made it there, I collapsed into my boss's arms and he called the police. The man and
I can't stand. Man, I heard the whispering in the background of this bullshit. I thought it wasn't real. I was like, I thought one of my peoples was here. I was like, oh, what? And then I realized, oh, wait, ain't nobody here. I was like, what? They got me. They got me. I'll admit it.
And whoever else was in the room with him peeled out before the cops could arrive, and I was beyond shaken up. According to the police who ran a search, this wasn't the first time he had done something like this, and he was actually wanted for sexual assault, gross sexual imposition and in the past was once charged with rape. A few weeks later, on what happened to be my birthday, this guy was caught. A few weeks after that, I quit. I will never again work at another motel.
Oh, hell no.
Ever since I can remember, we've always had one of those old vintage Parker Brother Ouija boards sitting in our closet collecting dust. When I was a kid, I always wondered what it was. From the box, it seemed like a horrible board game, until one day I found out what a Ouija board really is, and immediately dug it out of the closet. I insisted on my brother trying it out with me, and eventually got him to play along. We put our hands on the planchette, and I began asking the typical cliche questions like, "Is there anybody there?" and "Can you answer me?" Other than my brother jokingly moving the planchette around to imitate an answer from some kind of entity, there was no real response. After getting bored, we put the game back in the box. I did a little research that night to find out how to make Ouija boards work. Many people said online that the most ideal environment when using a Ouija board is in a dark room only lit by candles. So when my parents weren't home, I managed to gather like 6 or 7 candles and convinced my brother to try it one more time. I lit the candles and set them around the table in the dining room with all the lights out. We tried one more time. I asked again if there was anybody there. The planchette began to move. I told my brother to stop moving it, but he swore he wasn't. I told him to move his hand away, and he did. It kept moving. My brother thought I was messing with him, but I didn't pay attention. The planchette landed on the word yes. I was only 9, so I was legitimately shitting myself. My older brother had to take over. He asked the question, "Are you a good spirit?" There was a 5-second pause before my brother's hand moved along with the planchette to the word no. We both looked at each other, and at this point I ran to my room and shut the door behind me, but he continued on with the so-called game. I heard his muffled voice come from down in the dining room, when all of a sudden I heard him screaming at the top of his lungs. I ran back downstairs to see what was wrong. He was holding up his shirt, revealing a small open wound that almost looked like a claw mark. He told me to set the fireplace immediately, and I obeyed. He threw the thing in the fireplace and told me to never speak of what happened to anybody. We have never used a Ouija board since.
Damn, really? I wonder how true that is.
When I was a kid, my parents would sometimes bring me down to my aunt and uncle's place to stay for the weekend. Mainly, I'd spend time playing with my 2 cousins who were around the same age as me. They lived on a small farm with plenty of open space, and we could run around doing pretty much whatever we wanted. If we thought we could get away with it, the 3 of us would sometimes cross over to the neighboring farm about half a mile away. It had been abandoned for decades, with a scattering of derelict buildings and other structures still standing on the property, just begging to be explored. This was of course a gold mine for 3 adventurous young boys such as ourselves, especially after my cousins told me stories about the deaths that took place in the house. It was pretty classic fare. Man goes crazy, axe murders his entire family, hangs himself, returns every night as an angry spirit looking for new victims. Good, grisly stuff. Even at that age, I knew they were probably making it up, or at least embellishing old rumors. But seeing as how the setting lent itself so well to such tales, I allowed myself to buy into it. One afternoon, we decided to play hide and seek. When it was my turn to hide, I ran off for a flimsy brown barn that had living quarters on top, and climbed the stairs looking for a good spot. There was still furniture inside, and personal belongings lay scattered across the floor. I maneuvered over broken dishes, tattered clothes, and crumbling books, eventually coming to a small room with a closet. Jackpot. There were even long black dresses still hanging on the rod that I could hide behind. I stepped inside and managed to force shut the folding door. My only illumination was a slit of sunlight that shone through the crack in the door from a nearby window. I crouched down with knees tucked into chest and waited. Some time passed and there was still no sign of my seekers. I waited some more, debating if and when I should give myself up. After nearly an hour, this was starting to get boring. My head drooped. I woke with a jerk. It was pitch black. Drowsy and confused, I forgot for a minute where I was or what I had been doing. As it came back to me, the realization that it was now nighttime and that I had been abandoned here filled me with sinking dread in the pit of my stomach. I tried to get up, but a sudden cramp in my calf kept me grounded. I squirmed about, waiting for it to pass, when I heard a door slamming shut downstairs, and instantly froze. One of my cousins? There was a brief period of silence, then footsteps at the bottom of the stairs. But not just footsteps, a thud too. After every other step. These weren't the footfalls of a child. They were slow, heavy, deliberate. I held my breath, praying they would go away. They did not. The noises continued to ascend. After another moment of silence, the walking resumed, this time along with a steady scraping sound, like something heavy being dragged across the floorboards. The footsteps made their way through the debris and wandered aimlessly through the various rooms. I thought I could smell something faintly putrid. The constant scrape sent cold shivers coursing down my arms and back. My worst fears were realized when the steps reached the bedroom doorway. They got closer and closer and finally stopped directly in front of the closet door. I couldn't see a thing. After an agonizing pause, they continued on over to the other side of the room and out the doorway again. They faded away down the hallway. I waited for what seemed like an eternity. There were no more sounds now, and I was trying to build up enough courage to open the door and flee. 3 things happened simultaneously just then. I was bombarded with a smell I can only describe as fresh roadkill. I heard raspy breathing behind me in the dark closet, and I felt hot breath against the nape of my neck.
No.
That was enough for me to hurtle myself out from the confines of that nightmare space, relying on memory and scant moonlight to navigate through the darkened house. All the while, I heard footsteps chasing behind me, closing in with terrifying speed. It was a clumsy, torturous escape full of trips and bumps and blind stumbling. I never looked back, at least not until I had burst out the front door and into the country night. And when I did turn around, I saw absolutely nothing. There were no more footsteps and nobody was chasing me. That didn't stop me from running though, all the way back to my aunt and uncle's house. There was a police car in the driveway when I got back. My parents were there too, worried sick. Everybody demanded to know where I had been. Apparently, when my cousins still hadn't found me by evening, they'd returned home to tell their parents. Eventually, the police were called in and informed me that they had already scoured every building on the farm. The insinuation that I was lying about my whereabouts didn't go unnoticed. None of it made any sense. It wasn't until years later that one of my cousins filled in a final piece of the story. He and his brothers had spent hours searching for me like they said, but the part they didn't tell anyone was that they thought they spotted me in the window of the bedroom I was hiding in. And when they got closer, they saw that it wasn't me. A young boy neither of them recognized was smiling and waving down at them and gesturing for them to come upstairs. That's when they ran back home. All of this while I slept in the closet.
Good Lord. That's a good one. Damn.
This story took place about 5 years ago on Christmas Eve night. It was around 1 in the morning, and I had just finished placing presents under the tree. I went upstairs to brush up and everything, then came back downstairs to the kitchen to get a glass of water before bed. My son Jake, who was 4 at the time, was standing by the stairs leading to the basement. I asked him what he was doing up so late. He pointed down the stairs and said, "Santa." I picked him up and carried him back to his room. I took a glass of water and went to bed. I woke up around an hour later to my son running down the hall outside my room. I sighed and got out of bed. As I was going down the stairs, I saw Jake by the tree looking at presents. Then he ran past me into the basement stairs again. He pointed down the stairs again. This time I looked down the stairwell, and my heart dropped as I saw a black figure sitting on the bottom step. I almost screamed, but I somehow held it in. I pulled my son quietly away from the basement door and closer to the front door of the house. I moved my hand away from my son's mouth to reach for the lock in the doorknob. I tried to pull the door open as quietly as possible, but it was pointless. The squeaky hinges let out the usual ear-piercing screeches, and I cringed in my mouth and eyes as I did. Suddenly, there were heavy stomps coming from up the basement stairs. I screamed and pushed open the storm door and practically threw Jake outside. I shut both doors behind us and we ran to the neighbor's house. I rang the doorbell as fast as possible, probably 30 times before they answered. After that, we went inside and stayed there and waited for the police. Whoever that person was gone though, as determined after the police conducted a thorough investigation of the house. I ended up lying to Jake, telling him that actually was Santa Claus, but a few years later, he remembered the incident and became a little more wise to what actually happened.
We got this. Okay? I got this.
I was using Craigslist to find myself some outdoor furniture. I had just moved and gotten a backyard patio, so I was excited to spend time out there, but didn't want to overspend on it. On the website, there were a ton of people selling outdoor stuff, but most of them were really outdated or just gross and overused. I took my time, casually checking throughout the week until someone posted one for sale that I liked the look of.
What they post of?
It was a simple 2-chair and 1-table setup, but it looked clean and was a decent price. I sent an email and waited.
Ooh, it's October 4th.
It only took a couple minutes for the owner to respond. His name was Jared, and he explained that the set was newly opened, but had a few scratches on it from shipping.
Ooh, that's hot.
After a quick back and forth, we agreed to meet the next day around 6 at his house. So come the next day, I drove over there. When I pulled up to the side of his house, the first thing I noticed was that all the lights were off inside.
Oh, he got a 4-ton.
The only light that was on was the front porch light. The home itself, though, was actually really nice, looking like it was very expensive.
Yeah, hella expensive. We got to rob that.
I parked and got out, walking up to the front door and ringing the doorbell. I heard it ring from inside the house, but nothing followed it. No lights turned on, and no footsteps coming to the door. I looked through the little window on the porch, not trying to be creepy, but just trying to see if there was anyone even home. I saw what looked like a normal house, but no signs of anyone.
Oh man, they got the Freddy Krueger
The sound
noise.
of my phone receiving a text made me jump back from the window. It was Jared, saying to come around through the fence into the backyard. Everything was just a little off about this, but it was patio furniture, so I guess it made sense to me at the time. I walked around the front of the house and over to the wooden fence gate, pushing it open and walking into the backyard. Jared came around the corner and waved at me, then showed me over to the furniture.
Jared, greasy as shit.
I was actually really stunned at how nice the setup was. Everything looked perfect and was high quality.
Okay.
I sat on one of the chairs and walked around it, looking for any damages, because I just couldn't believe he was selling these.
This ain't creepy.
But after less than a minute of looking, Jared started to rush me. His smile faded, and he showed an impatient face, followed by asking me if I would take it or not.
Take what? Money?
I would have taken it without any trouble, but the change in attitude started to make me notice some other strange things.
Pause.
The most notable being that the set was perfectly placed, having other decorations around it and everything, as if it was meant to be there.
Fuck you mean?
Even the table had coasters on it for drinks.
Of course
it
it
just
got
didn't
coasters,
look
bitch.
like it was even for sale.
What?
I think he saw my change in emotions because he started becoming pushy with me trying to get me to give him the cash and take the furniture.
Nah. When they get pushy,
Now
that means it's
uncomfortable with the
bullshit.
situation, I took a step back and said I would think about it and text him my decision tomorrow.
Fuck no.
He frowned
pussy
and
fuck.
took a step toward me, followed by another.
What's
And
really
with every
good,
step
bitch?
closer he came, I could see it more clearly in his eyes that he
Look,
had bad
You don't get
intentions.
your light skin, Whoopi Goldberg,
I turned
built ass the
around
fuck
and
away
ran
from me,
back
bitch.
to the front of the house,
I
hearing
ain't
his
gonna take no
footsteps
shit
following close
from no
behind
dude built like no
until I
female.
reached the gate.
No, hit him with the
I
lawn
sprinted to my
furniture.
car, and strangely, the man
Beat
turned
him with
out
the
of the
furniture,
gate
nigga.
and ran across the yard.
That's not
until
his
he reached
furniture!
an intersecting road.
That's not his
I
furniture!
watched him get in a car across the road and speed off as I
You
sat in shock
dirty
and called
motherfucker!
911.
God damn it!
As you probably know
son
by
of
now,
a bitch!
that wasn't his house or his furniture to sell. The owners were on vacation, and the man, who still remains unidentified,
Motherfucker.
was trying to sell their belongings
You
while they were gone.
Wow!
Thankfully, there were no signs of him breaking into the home, but they still aren't sure how he knew the family was on vacation.
That nigga on crack. That's a
All I can say
crackhead
is
move,
that I'm
bro.
glad I made it out when I did, because I don't think I would have gotten away unharmed
They both
if
brown.
I had
What-
tried to
they
leave
light-skinned and
even
brown. Were they
just a
Mexican?
moment later.
Nah. That's like a light-skinned Jamaican or something. I don't know what he is. Damn, he's flu flamming,
This
nigga.
happened 6 years ago.
He was Drakey
I was
Owen,
preparing
man.
to
That
move
nigga's
into a
flu
house
flamming.
across the state and trying to get rid of anything that took up too much
That's funny.
space. Craigslist was the only way I could
nigga
think
gonna
of
think
to do this easily, as well as bring in a bit of
Dirty
extra cash to help me
motherfuckers.
with the move. I posted about 10 separate listings of random things I was selling.
Dirty motherfucker.
Each item I was asking less than $20 for, just because I wanted them to go quickly. And for most of them, they did. I think only a couple were left by the end of the week, one of which was a workout bench with a set of weights. This was probably the last thing I wanted to haul into the moving truck and into the new place, so I really wanted it gone. I waited until just a few days before the moving date, before someone finally sent me an email. I opened it, and all they said was, "I can pick it up today." Nothing more. I sent a reply, asking what time they could come at. We ended up going back and forth over the course of an hour, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't find the interaction odd. He would only write a vague sentence or two per message, making it take forever to plan out the exchange. In most other situations, I would never give away my address, especially in such a weird conversation, but I was moving away in just a few days, so I didn't feel it mattered too much.
I got
I
that
sat
song
on my
stuck
phone
in
in
my
the
head.
kitchen for a while, just waiting
Flu
for the guy to
Flamin' by
arrive.
Drakeo. Flu
30
Flamin'
minutes
by
went by
Drakeo. Go
with
listen
no
to that.
call or
Drakeo the
text
Ruler.
until I heard a car pull up outside.
That song mad
then
fire.
footsteps coming up to the front door. I waited for the doorbell or a knock, but nothing came, so I went up and opened the door.
Wow, white
He
people.
looked startled, like he wasn't expecting it,
Mother,
but he
you
also
open-
wasn't doing anything.
Why we don't do
From
that?
the small glimpse I got while opening the door, it looked like he was just standing there, staring forward with his hands in his pockets. "You're here for the workout stuff?" I asked. He nodded, and I invited him inside and showed him to where the bench and weights were,
I thought
then
he
let
was
him
on
check
the
out the
outside,
stuff for himself.
looking on the inside.
Except
Okay.
he didn't.
He was on the
He
inside.
stood there
looking
and looked
outside.
at it, but didn't do much else.
What?
I already knew after the emails that this guy was going to be quiet and probably shy or something, but something else was definitely off about this guy. We stood next to each other as I waited for him to say something or check out the bench.
I don't know that funny
It was
shit.
a really awkward minute, but
Hold
then
on.
there was a knock at the front door. The guy's head whipped around and he looked at me with wide eyes,
Really
like he
good,
was gauging
bitch.
my reaction.
What's good?
Although my gut was telling me this was something horrible, I tried to play it cool.
Should I beat your
I
ass?
started walking to the front door, and
Should
the
we-
guy
should we
followed
beat
close
this
behind
nigga?
me.
Should we just beat
Right
this
before I
ass?
got to the hallway, he stopped me by grabbing my arm. I immediately pulled away and asked him what was going on, but he kept that same blank face and didn't say anything.
Excuse me, hey man, you good?
There was another knock, and this time, the man instantly ran down the hallway and swung the door open, giving me enough time to turn around and run out the back
Beat that nigga
door.
the fuck out, beat him up!
I looked back and
Floop.
saw 3 more men entering my house.
They got a gun?
Luckily, they didn't chase me,
Do they have
and I
any
was able
guns?
to get to a neighbor's yard where I hid and called the police.
I mean, if there's
While
no
I waited,
gun,
I saw movement in the
Maybe
windows of
run.
my house.
what?
It was unnerving to see that, especially knowing I could have been in there if I hadn't gotten out the back door. A whole 5 minutes passed before the movement stopped, and a couple minutes after that, the police showed up. To keep this from dragging on, the police didn't get much evidence from inside my house. The best they had was my description of the one man who I let in. The 4 intruders couldn't take much, at least, considering my house was mostly empty at this point in the moving process. What they would have done to me had I opened the door or stayed inside the house is unknown.
Get peed on like
I think it's unlikely that I would have gone unharmed, though. I've never opened Craigslist even once since
4
then,
intruders ever
and
break
I
into your
encourage
crib,
everyone else
all you gotta do
to
is
do
pull
the
your
same.
balls out and start peeing in their direction. Dudes are gonna run. They ain't no dude ain't no robber gonna stick around and you peeing on him. That's just
I
real.
found a house on Craigslist
You know,
that both me and my
used to teach
roommates were interested in renting.
That's one of the tactics.
We didn't have a huge pool
You know,
of
you
money
gotta
at the
pee
time,
directly,
so taking up low rent
like,
offers on
if you could get it, like, on their
Craigslist
face
was
or
just about
something,
the best we could do right out
like
of
on their
college.
shirt or something. Like dudes ain't gonna do
We
that.
sent in a quick request to tour the place and included both of our phone numbers as well. A few hours later, I got a call from the owner, Kim, who said he could have us tour the place tomorrow, but had other tours scheduled for the rest of the week. My roommate worked that day, but knowing he had other people lined up meant we had to see the place soon or risk losing it. When I got to the house on the following day, I was kind of disappointed at first glance. It was far from other houses, down a pretty beat up road, and the house itself did not look well taken care of. The outside had overgrown bushes and grass all around it. I parked in the driveway and got out to get a better view, but there wasn't much else to see. I stood there in the driveway for a second, debating if I wanted to flake on the owner and pretend like I couldn't make it. It sounds wrong, but I could already tell this wasn't going to be the place for us. Just before getting back into my car, a man called out to me. He came out of the front door and greeted me, and now I knew I was too far in.
Oh, damn,
Kim
man.
seemed really excited to show me the place, so I went along with it.
The fuck? This
We
nigga's
went
on
in
meth.
through the front, and again, at first glance, the
Nigga.
inside was really disappointing.
Nigga!
It was very old, and even looked kind of run down. As we walked through the house, I noticed more and more things that just didn't look right. The entire place was so worn down, I couldn't see how this would possibly be livable. And I was positive these were not the pictures he had posted on Craigslist. I asked if he planned any repairs or anything, and he started running through a list of things he had planned. He basically named every part of the house, which made it obvious he was making impossible promises. After touring the whole first floor, he started walking me up to the second floor. When we got up to the hallway, all I could focus on was this one door in the far back that had a padlock on it. Then I looked down at the dusty hardwood floor and saw multiple shoe prints of different sizes, but all of them went to a single room, yet none of them were coming out of the room.
It's a filthy goat sex factory.
Even if I was missing some shoe prints
I had a
exiting,
homeboy of mine, his
I
name was
still
Henry.
knew that if they were from
I
people
swear,
touring
I
the
caught him
house,
having sex
they
with a
would have
goat.
gone
I
to
swear
all
to God,
of
I
the
didn't
rooms,
see
not just the
it
one.
happening, but
This
a
all
baby
came to
goat
thought within
came
a few
walking out of
seconds
his
of being
room
upstairs, and my heart started
wearing
beating faster as
pink
I got
lingerie,
nervous.
my nigga.
Kim walked down the
I'm
hallway,
not
passing by one of the
being
rooms and
facetious
going
right
straight
now,
to
my
the one
nigga.
where all the shoe prints led to.
Oh God!
I stopped and stared at him as he opened the door and
I
urged
never
me to
hung out
come
with
look.
Henry after that no more. I can't kick
He
it
looked
with
at me
no
for a
goat.
second, but
I be
then recognized
cracking-
my nervous
I be
face
cracking jokes
and
about
said for
animal
me to
sex.
come over.
But if
This
I ever
time,
run into one
like
of y'all,
he was
y'all
demanding
really
it.
having sex with animals, I'm not
My
going
adrenaline
to I'm
started
not going to kick
pumping,
it.
getting me to break from the shock and run back down the stairs straight to my car. I pulled out and drove off as the man came chasing me down the driveway.
I run away from that.
I called 911 as soon as possible.
I would not
but
fight
when
that guy.
they got there,
Never
the
fight a
house
meth
was
addict.
empty. Nobody was inside. However, the room with all the shoe prints leading to it had signs of recent activity, showing that there were at least 2 separate people being in there. And the room with the padlock had a ton of garbage, like food wrappers and old blankets. The house was abandoned 8 years ago, and these people seemed to have been living there for a while. I don't know what their plan was to do to me, but it was most likely a setup for an ambush. What scares me is that they weren't trying to sell me anything that day, so there wouldn't be reason to believe I had a bunch of cash on me. And that makes me question what ambushing me would have been for.
Damn. Pray to God it wasn't butt stuff. Pray to God it wasn't butt stuff.
I don't think I ever talked about this to anyone, as it is the most terrifying incident of my life.
Oh, you get
I was in middle school when my dad died in an accident.
Ooh,
my mom and I shifted to a new town. She took a job at the local school, and I got admitted there too. So the new boy and the son of a teacher. You can probably imagine how my first day went.
Bullied?
A big, tall guy, who was the bully, pushed me, and I tripped over the dumpster.
Yep.
Someone's leftover smelly hot dog smacked me on the face.
Never had a glizzy on
the
my face.
mustard that came out of it looked like poop on my face.
Oh.
Anyways, I got home. I didn't say anything to my mom. And
Damn,
went
nigga,
to
your
bed.
mama bad.
The next few days went by, and I was
shit.
still the lonely, unwanted kid in school. One day at recess,
I was about to
walking
yell,
to
"Show
the
your
school
pussy, bitch."
cafeteria when I heard a familiar laugh.
I want to do that in the school.
I followed it and stopped outside of a classroom. My mom was standing near a desk and talking to a man wearing a bow tie.
She cheating on me.
Who the frack wears a bow tie?
What the fuck is the
Yeah,
frack?
well, we're just adjusting well.
The fuck is
I
the
think
frack?
it's a little tough for Liam.
Show your pussy, bitch.
Why? Is he all right? I don't know. He
Hell
doesn't
yeah.
talk much.
Hell yeah, nigga.
Well, I can talk to him if you want.
No.
And
no,
that's
nigga.
how Gerald came
Don't
into our life.
talk about the son,
After
my nigga.
3 months of this conversation, Mom got married to him.
What?
He was the school accountant, and they
3
both
months?
kind of fell in love and had their perfect marriage.
That nigga a loser, bro.
Gerald was not a bad
You don't
guy.
marry no bitch in 3 months?
I mean, at first, I just couldn't hate him. After they got married, Gerald moved into our house. He tried hard to impress me. He would make breakfast, take us out to dinner every Friday night.
Yay,
He even
free
bought me
food.
my favorite gaming console on my birthday.
Yeah, he got a game station.
One day,
to play.
I was taking books
Cast.
from my locker to attend the next class when I felt a strong slap at the back of my head.
Damn, nigga.
Turning back, I saw
shit.
Monte standing behind me with his evil sidekicks.
What the fuck
Look
is
who's
this?
famous now.
Toby Maguire built bitches.
Monty, dude, I don't want any trouble. Leave me alone.
Y'all Jonas
Or
Brothers
what?
looking
Your
motherfuckers.
stepdad's
Y'all
gonna
boy
kick
band
my
now.
ass?
Y'all
Let me go.
boy band niggas, them freckles.
You do know that your mom is screwing the school accountant, right?
So you do
Everyone
know your
laughed
mom
as he
is
made
screwing
jokes
a drug
about my
dealer,
family.
right?
I got really angry and shouted, "Keep my family out of this, okay?"
Ugh.
Whoa!
White people.
Big talks all of a sudden. Saying this, he punched me in the face
Damn,
and
block
gave
that
me a
off.
black eye.
No,
I lied to my mom, saying I got elbowed in basketball practice.
that's smart.
I planned to avoid Monty like a plague from the next day, but
You gonna get jumped
fate
every time.
has
They gonna jump
something
you every time.
shocking planned.
No, it's not shocking, nigga.
Upon reaching school,
They
we
gonna
were
whoop your
all
ass.
informed about the untimely demise of Monty Clement.
Oh!
He was returning home from school and got brutally murdered by some psycho. His body was found floating at the big lake in the woods. His hands and legs were tied, and he was thrown into the lake. Not being able to swim, he drowned. As if the death wasn't painful enough, the killer pulled his nails and teeth out.
Damn, nigga.
His parents were devastated.
He ain't
and
deserve all that.
everyone was shocked.
Damn,
Cops
nigga.
started investigating this gruesome murder, and a night curfew took
ain't had to
place
kill
in the
him.
town. No kid was supposed to wander alone in the streets after school. I
Damn,
was
nigga.
sitting on my room in a rainy Sunday afternoon when Gerald came in. Hey, are you all right? I guess so. He sat beside me on the bed and said, "Were you and Monty close?" Not exactly. I see. We used to have complaints about him being a bully at school. Did he ever hurt you? I didn't want to say anything about to somebody who just died, so I lied. No, Never. I see. Did the cops find who did this? Not yet. Gerald got up and started walking to the door.
Here's Gerald.
He suddenly stopped and turned around. His eyes were glowing wide. A sick smile appeared on his face.
That nigga do meth too?
You're safe now, Liam. And then left. A cold shiver ran down my spine. Why did he say that?
Damn, nigga.
From the next day on, I started keeping a close eye on Gerald. He had a habit of working in the basement till midnight. After having dinner that night, I remained awake in my bed, waiting for Gerald to go to sleep. As soon as the clock struck midnight, I heard the basement door close. Footsteps started to come upstairs and then stopped right outside my door.
Word?
It was open and my room was quite dark.
What's really
the
hood,
dim light
bitch?
coming from the hallway created a shadowy atmosphere. I looked at the open door and saw Gerald standing outside.
Oh, shit. Go to
His
sleep.
eyes were scanning my room. He didn't notice that I was awake, and thank God for that. After watching me sleep for almost a minute straight, he slowly turned around and went to his bedroom. The moment I heard the bedroom door close, I slowly got up from my bed.
Damn that.
Carefully walked downstairs without making a single noise. The house was pin-drop silent, and only the sound of the grandfather clock was echoing in the void. I twisted the basement door. He never locked this door. This much I knew. Coming down, I turned on the light and found myself standing in a not-so-mysterious place.
Word?
There was a wooden table and a chair. Piles of files and documents were on the desk.
You about to get stabbed, man.
A worn-out couch and a small
Come
television
on, baby.
were also in the basement.
Why are you
Nothing
snooping?
suspicious or alarming here.
You
I thought to
snitching, nigga.
myself.
Stop!
Suddenly, my eyes went to the small mini freezer where Gerald stored his
Congratulations, nigga. You playing
I
yourself.
opened it, but as I did, the ground beneath my feet swept away. Along with the beer cans, there was a jar filled with pungent-smelling, colorless liquid. And in that solution, handfuls of teeth and fingernails were floating. The ripped-out nails still had fleshy residue stuck to them.
Okay, that's bad.
Why are you up so late?
Fuck us. We're dead.
Turned back
It's
in
over.
Fear
We're asleep.
and saw Gerald
Go back to
standing
sleep.
behind me. His face had a blank expression, and his eyes weren't blinking.
I was
He
coming
asked
down
me
for a
again,
beer.
Why are you up so late, Liam?
I was looking for a beer, man. I had to
I
take
could
it.
feel my heartbeat getting
I had
faster.
some pizza before I went to
I
sleep,
started
and
to
I was about
fumble.
to poop. So I.
You killed Monty?
Duh.
Why?
Why would you ask?
Why did you? Because he hurt you. I'm your dad, and it's my job to protect you.
No.
I screamed. Mom!
No! Quit! You're
Stop
killing
it.
yourself!
Liam, stop shouting.
You're killing us!
You'll wake the neighbors.
You're killing us!
You're a murderer.
So?
Gerald pressed his hand on
Ah!
my mouth and kissed me on the forehead.
Kiss?
His saliva dripped
Bitch.
over my nose.
Oh, nigga.
And then looked me in the eye and
The
whispered,
fuck?
Daddy's going to take care of you. Just
Oh.
let him, Liam.
Hell no!
I couldn't make a sound. My voice died in my throat. I only cried. Just then I heard my mom's voice calling out. Gerald? Liam? What are you guys doing down there? Nothing, honey. Just having a chat. He let go of me, and I wiped my face with my sleeve. My mom came down and looked at us.
Nasty motherfucker.
Did you scare him, Gerald? No,
Scared
honey.
himself.
I was just explaining to Liam about the teeth and nails. Oh my God, Liam, are you okay? I looked down and saw that I had peed my pants in fear. My mom came close to me and kissed my cheek, saying, "You don't need to be afraid of him. He
Yeah.
just wants to help out."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Help out with what?
Killers never murdered a guy,
I
the
saw
girl who's
Monty
fucking.
bullying you at school. He had it coming. trust me.
Oh.
It felt so good when we tied him up near the lake and pulled his teeth and nails out.
Oh.
We threw his body into the water and watched him drown in the lake. I'm not gonna let anyone hurt you.
Crazy. Crazy.
I guess that makes us
crazy
a
again.
family.
Crazy woman. Oh.
Who cares?
Oh, use a condom.
I still live with my
use
parents.
10 condoms on that one.
Me, my mom, and my dad, Gerald. We had pledged to protect each other for the rest of our lives.
What?
I know that they are twisted, but I can't leave them.
Yeah,
They're
they'll kill
all
you.
I have.
They'll murder
And for
you as well.
Gerald, I've already lost a father who once cared.
Raw fish
I
head,
can't
raw
lose
fish heads.
him now.
That's not
The
love.
remains of Monty are
That's
still in our
crazy.
basement freezer.
Crazy bitches.
Mom and Dad kept it as a memento. And to think, I also started to grow fond of their weirdness. After all, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree.
We ain't gonna blame white people for this. We ain't gonna blame this on white people.
When it all started, I actually liked my stepdad, Ryan.
Word?
He and my mom met at some work event, and I could tell right away that he was good for her.
These are really interesting.
Mom hadn't really laughed or smiled much in the 18 months after Dad passed away. Ryan gave something back to her, some spark or light or presence.
Dick.
He made her happy,
light.
and that made me happy. So I was willing to
Disney
overlook
Channel.
the weirdness when it first
Lilo and
began.
Stitch. I didn't say anything.
Ryan
dirty.
was a giant, at least 6'6" or more. I was always surprised his shoulders could even fit through the doorway.
Oh, damn.
He had a dark beard and a booming laugh that he fired off often. But something felt strange from our first meeting. It was his eyes. I decided later. They were small for his face, nearly black. And over the course of the dinner that Mom made for the three of us, I don't remember seeing Ryan blink once. The first 6 months after my stepdad moved in with us were pretty great. He and my mom had a date at least once a week. Ryan even made time to hang out with me, which I respected. Not every new relationship is going to leave time for somebody to try to teach you how to drive or help you with calculus homework, but the guy made an effort. I was stressed enough getting ready to go into my senior year of high school.
Teach they baby how to
Knowing
read.
that my mom had somebody who made her happy after Dad died was a relief in a lot of ways. I noticed early on, though, that certain oddities seemed to hover around my stepfather. Strangers watched him from time to time. Anytime I was out in public with him, I saw people looking at us.
Yeah, all the time.
I could tell it was more than a casual reaction to Ryan's size. It felt familiar, protective. Eyes followed us in restaurants and parks and stores.
Yep.
My mom seemed oblivious, but that's love for you, I guess.
Care.
She and Ryan
love
were
shit.
dreamy-eyed for each other.
Yeah, they love that shit.
And sometimes I felt like a third teenage wheel.
He smashed
But
it. He fucking
honestly,
dog shit
the
out
first
of it.
couple of months were good for all of us. Then Ryan moved in,
Fucking the
and
dog
things got weird.
shit out of here.
My stepdad got a lot of letters and packages. He would wake up before the rest of us and go wait at the mailbox some mornings, but I still saw just how much correspondence came in. No matter the weather, even in the rain, Ryan would be waiting for the mailman. I tried once or twice to intercept the letters, but I never made it to the mailbox on time. Once Ryan had the boxes or envelopes, they disappeared to a shed that he custom built on our property. It stayed locked at all times, and he told my mom and me very clearly that it was his private space.
Real talk.
In addition to all the mail, Ryan got a ton of calls at all hours. I'd step out of my bedroom in the middle of the night to use the bathroom and hear him whispering downstairs, having a conversation in the kitchen. Occasionally, I'd creep down the hallway, hoping to catch a few words, but my stepfather seemed to have an almost supernatural sense about eavesdropping. Once, I made it most of the way down the staircase before his voice suddenly stopped mid-sentence. I attempted to tiptoe back into my room, but when I reached the top of the stairs, I looked back to see Ryan staring up at me. His face was completely blank in the dim light, which was somehow worse than if he had been angry. I stopped trying to listen in on his late night calls after that.
That's what's up.
If it was just the letters and the phone calls, I could have let a sleeping dog lie. Even a year in, my mom was still over the moon, head over heels, madly in love with this strange giant man. But then, the long disappearances began. Ryan told us that these were business trips, though he was always cagey about exactly what he did for a living. Something about property management, he told us. The man did well, financially. There was no doubt there. Within that first year, he was paying all of the household bills, taking my mom on fancy vacations, and even putting some money aside for my college fund.
I mean,
Ryan
you
never
know,
went into details about
for the right
his
type of
job,
girl, maybe,
and his
but,
trips started lasting longer and longer. First, it was a few days here and there, then weeks, escalating until he disappeared for nearly a month at the start of my senior year of high school. My mom nailed a smile to her face, but I could tell she was devastated and afraid. I decided to confront Ryan when he finally returned late one night. Mom was already asleep and didn't wake up when he pulled into the garage. I waited half an hour for him to get settled, then walked downstairs. Ryan was sitting at the kitchen table eating leftovers when I sat down. "Hey, kiddo,"
She had 3
he said,
kids.
smiling. The smile dissolved when I asked
Wasn't my
him where
kids, though.
he'd
I ain't
been,
shit.
and then told him I didn't think it was right that he was treating my mom that way,
I don't
keeping
give a
her in the
fuck.
dark.
I don't give a fuck.
"Go to bed,"
Do something.
Ryan said, his face cold and
About my
flat
business,
again.
Little motherfucker.
It felt like the temperature in the room dropped.
Exactly.
To my shame, I scurried away, unable to keep eye contact with those dark, dead eyes of his. But a resolution formed in my mind that night. A promise to myself. I'd at least check the shed to see what my stepdad was storing. I ordered a lock-picking kit.
You better be able to pay all the
Can you
bills.
believe you can just buy that from Amazon?
Be able to pay all the
Then,
bills.
I waited an agonizing week for Ryan and my mom to head out for the day. There were 3 padlocks on the door. I got through them all in under 2 minutes.
I'd have put that.
It was
I'd
a
put them all
big
out.
shed, but cramped. I pushed the door open and saw only shadows from the sunlight behind me. I fumbled around on the wall for a light switch, not even sure if the shed was wired for electricity. Apparently, it was. I flipped the switch and took a step back. The shed was packed with bones. There were boxes full of ribs and femurs, and collarbones. Spines dangled from the rafters, and a full human skeleton was stapled to the back wall. I saw knives, big blades that curved back and forth like a snake's tail. A pair of black robes hung on a mannequin in the corner. I was so stunned by the contents of the shed, I barely registered the blinking red light over the door until I thought about it later. It was an alarm system.
Run away!
I was sitting at the kitchen table trying to decide my next move when Ryan's car
Oh, you're
pulled into
dead,
the
bro.
garage.
You dead,
The
bro.
obvious thing to do was to call the police, but I was terrified that my mom somehow might get in trouble as well. I relocked the shed and figured I had time to talk to her, to warn her about Ryan. Then we could choose what to do together. We've been safe with him for more than a year, so what was another day? By the time Ryan pulled his car into the garage, though, my mom was already dead.
What?
I went out into the garage to meet them and saw her dead. Wide-eyed corpse sitting in the passenger seat. Ryan was watching me with a blank face. His shirt stained with my mom's blood. A curvy knife in his hand. I realized he knew I broke into the shed. I wanted to scream, weep for my mom.
That's what you get.
But when he opened the car door, my legs took over and ran into the house. Ryan had its secrets, and so did I. So did my mom. I knew that she had a small gun stashed away deep in the back of her closet. She'd bought it after Dad died and before she met Ryan. I heard him crashing through the house behind me, calling my name. I made it to the gun just as he ran through the bedroom door. I fired until the clip was empty, and Ryan was sliding down the hallway wall. 6 bullets in his stomach and chest. The police arrived quickly. After searching the shed, I found out the truth. Ryan wasn't just a killer. He had a hidden life. Several lives, actually. Several families. Some knew his secrets. Others, like Mom, were meant for sacrifice.
What?
Ryan had his own little cult, complete with followers. They were the ones calling him late at night and sending him those packages full of bones.
The fuck?
Trophies for his collection.
My friend Muriel and I used to go dumpster diving when we were about 12 years old. We lived in the countryside and loved roaming around the town riding our bikes. There was this old abandoned factory in our town in front of which people used to dump their garbage for the cleaning van to take away every Sunday. So, the best time to dumpster dive was Saturday night, as we could have a lot of stuff to look through for hidden treasures. The reason we called our findings hidden treasures is because sometimes we did find some pretty expensive stuff that people just threw away due to a little dysfunction. One time, Muriel found this set of silver forks which were covered in rust and broken at the tip. We earned good money selling them in a pawn shop. So, it was a Saturday night fun activity that not only gave adventure, but also thrills. The dumpster was located in a sketchy place where no one would go after sundown. The abandoned factory was infamous around the town for all kinds of criminal activities. But we never went inside the factory, just kept our business to the dumpsters. Until one night, our world turned upside down. I was standing on the sidewalks opposite Muriel's house and waiting for him to sneak out so we could go on our routine expedition. After 5 minutes, he came out and we began riding to our destination. It was a full moon night, so even if our cycles had headlights, the view was still clear as crystal. The silver moonlight helped us navigate our way. We passed the cornfields, then the shimmering lake, and finally reached the abandoned factory. We parked our bikes under a big tree and walked to the dumpster, grabbing our flashlight and pickup sticks. The dumpster had a reeking smell, so we didn't want to use our hands directly to grab something. Like I said, we have done this many times, but particularly that night, something felt off about that entire place. Generally, we would hear sounds of crickets and frogs, but that night, we heard nothing. Isn't it too quiet tonight? Yeah, I said, while scanning the spooky surroundings. Suddenly, a coyote howled in the woods and Muriel said, let's get this done with and go home. I'm getting a weird vibe about this place tonight.
That's a female.
Muriel was braver than me in most cases, but as soon as he said that, I felt the hair at the back of my neck stand up.
A grown-ass
We
man
poked
named
and
Merle.
ransacked the dumpster with our sticks. After a pile of household waste and rotten food, I saw a red hairy thing peeking out under a black layer of a garbage bag. Hey, Muriel, what do you think that is? I don't know. We looked at each other and I moved the layer of plastic to see it more clearly. As soon as I did that, I backed away screaming in fear.
Ah! Holy moly. Is that...
The reason Muriel stuttered in fear was in front of our eyes. A partial head with curled red hair was now peeking from the pile in that dumpster. We were about to pee ourselves as we realized we might have discovered the body of a woman. Should we call the police? But who would believe us that we had nothing to do with this murder? While Muriel and I went on discussing what should be done in this situation, my eyes went back to my head, and I saw it move. I froze in fear. No words came out of my mind. I just kept staring at that head in the dumpster. Russell? Russell! What is it? Muriel called out to me and I pointed at the head with my shaking hands. Both of our eyes got fixated on the head and we were pinned to the ground by an unknown fear. The head moved in a very creepy way, bobbled up and down a little for a few seconds,
babies,
and then all of a sudden...
Oh, hell no! What the fuck is that? Nigga! Is that a crackhead?
A woman rose from the
This bitch is on
dumpster.
heroin.
She looked like a being from another world.
Yep, that's at least
Her
heroin.
red stringy hair floated in the air like a pile of snakes.
Damn, get surgery,
Her long
bitch.
pointy nose with a huge black blitz on its top
Ain't got
dangled
no
on her
alibi,
face.
man. She ugly
And her
as
eyes.
shit.
I've never seen such wide,
Terrible.
scary eyes. Her
Bitch look like
eyes
Jeff the
almost
Killer.
stretched to the cheekbones, making her stare cold as a dead fish.
female
She
predator?
slowly crawled out of that pile of the dumpster like
Oh,
a
the bitch
four-legged
crawled like
animal,
Smeagol.
and we
Oh,
slowly
she took
took
it
our
up.
steps back in
Hey,
fear.
so that booty meat, bitch. Yeah, she's twerking it.
I didn't know you boys would come to visit me.
Damn, her teeth
She
so sharp.
looked
I
like
don't
a
think
woman,
I'd want a
but her
blowjob.
voice was of a possessed demon. Our bikes were still far from our reach, and
How
I knew
how
if we
possessed?
tried to run, she had a very good chance to catch one of us and do unthinkable things. So
freak?
I tried to play it cool. We were only fooling around.
Show your pussy,
Were
bitch.
you? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, we were just about to leave. You know, our parents must be worried, so.
I don't think your parents know you are here.
Well, that's what's up. You got a gun or a knife?
Look, we're sorry
Because
to
if not-
disturb you, dumpster lady. It
Yeah,
won't
I'm
happen
just gonna
again, okay?
Start rapping and dancing, honestly.
Dumpster lady. That's not bad.
You ever been
But
peed
what
on?
won't happen again? This.
You ever been
I
peed
mean, we'll never come back here. We
Yeah.
promise. Yeah, we promise.
That's
Who
what I'd
said
ask
you'd
you,
be
dog.
able to leave and come back again?
Oh, right.
Saying this, she jumped on Muriel and started choking him.
Damn!
Her filthy long nails dug
Oh,
into Muriel's flesh and he
shit!
screamed for his life.
Nigga!
I, on the other hand, was so taken aback by fear that
Nigga,
for
you
a
better
few
kick
seconds,
this
I
bitch.
didn't
You better
know
shoot this
what to
bitch.
do. And then an idea came to my mind.
Shoot
I
her.
ran close
Grab her
to her
titties.
and poked her in the eye with my picking up tool.
What?
I made her move away while holding
Nigga.
her one eye, writhing in pain, and I picked up Muriel from the ground. We both started running to the tree and turning back to see the lady chasing us like a mad dog.
Really?
She was literally running like a four-legged
Man, she took
animal.
the shit out that ass.
Stop, you little pigs!
Yeah, shake that
I'll
booty,
catch
bitch.
you and break your
Yeah,
necks
shake
like
that
twigs!
booty. Yeah,
Stop!
shake that booty, baby.
Obviously,
Yeah,
we
shake
didn't
that-
stop.
Hey, drop
As soon
that.
as we got to our bikes, we bolted out of there.
Yeah.
The lady chased us till the factory
God
went out of
damn.
our sight.
Nicki
And then
Minaj
we
ain't got
never
shit on
saw
that
her
ass, man.
again.
She dropping that
We
shit.
didn't stop until
God
we reached
damn.
Muriel's house. I went home
God
shaking
damn.
like a coward and didn't utter a single word to my parents.
That's racist.
Muriel and I both
Ew,
knew that we
nigga.
would be the ones to get in trouble for
Sleep in
sneaking
your
out
bed,
and
your
risking
shirt
our
on with a
lives.
dude in there,
So
man?
we remained quiet about this lady. But the story doesn't end here. The next
doesn't?
day, Muriel came for a sleepover at my place. We were just watching TV before dinner when my dad turned to the news channel. The county sheriff is said to have found the body of an 11-year-old boy in the dumpster near the abandoned factory this afternoon. As per the autopsy report, the boy died due to choking. The police officers also found a strand of red curly hair stuck in his hand. The sheriff is suspecting that the killer is a woman with red curly hair. The victim's family claimed that the boy left home on his bike this morning and never came home. His bike is also missing. No suspect has been identified yet. Muriel and I exchanged a fearful look. We told our parents about this woman right away, and they took us to the police station immediately.
I had this happen
Both
to me.
Muriel and I gave them information about the appearance of the woman, and they distributed her sketches so that
Yep,
people could
yeah,
identify her if she was seen in the area. But she never was. The boy's bike was found in the cornfield 2 days later, but there was no sign of that woman. The fact that if Muriel and I didn't get the chance to escape that night, one of us, or maybe both of us, might have been dead already.
My name's Devin Michaels. This is my girlfriend, Amy.
You guys see what I'm talking about the animation style? It's creepy as hell.
Pleasure, I'm sure.
I see. You're a Mets fan.
You're referring to my hat? Yeah, I'm from the Bronx. Never liked rooting for the Yankees. Always been partial toward the underdog, if you ask me.
I can respect that. Alright. Let's get to business. Can I get your name for the record?
Just call me John.
Is that your real name?
I'd prefer not to answer that.
Okay, well, could you tell me why you're here, John?
I found your blog, your YouTube channel. I know what kind of things you've been digging into, looking into. You've been asking a lot of questions, doing a lot of digging. I feel obligated to inform you just what it is you're digging into.
Alright, let's start from the beginning. What agency were you employed by?
I can't answer that specifically. I worked for an intelligence aggregate, interested in a very specific type of information.
What kind of information would that be?
We call it chain events. Linked phenomena which cannot be explained. All of it. Grisly murders, kidnappings, or things that would keep you up at night. These chain events were generally dismissed as urban legends by local authorities. Hell, even most federal authorities thought it was all bullshit. But we weren't them. We didn't have the luxury of dismissing anything. Rule 101 for intelligence gathering. Dig. No matter what you dig. And that's what we focused on. Sleep-deprived Russian prisoners, demon dogs, cursed items, you name it. We looked into all of it. We were ordered to investigate these events. We were very rarely given permission to interact directly in these incidents. Our standing orders were simply to observe.
Observe what?
What do you think? Look, I came here to help you out, kid. You're delving into some very dark shit, and I think you need to understand what it is you're dealing with. Who I worked for, and what my orders were, irrelevant to you. So let's cut to the chase. How long has I been stalking you?
What?
Tall, wears a suit, no face.
How did you know?
Oh, please don't insult me.
Shit just got real. And I'm gonna edit most of that out.
I can see it in your face, and your girlfriend's. You haven't slept in weeks. You've lost a lot of weight. Have the nightmares started yet?
He's been after us for about a month now. I think he started stalking Amy first, though.
Alright.
So what do you know about the Grossman?
What is he?
We have files dating back to the Neolithic era on this son of a bitch, and we don't even have the foggiest idea what the hell he is.
What does he want?
We don't know what he wants either, but judging by his behavior, he is hostile towards us.
Can he be stopped?
Back in '82, we had it cornered. In a small town in Jersey, 2 teams of men went in to bring it in, dead or alive. These men were elite. SEALs, Special Forces, you know the works. 2 teams, 40 men total. Not one came back alive. I was in the command vehicle, an armored car. The thing tore off the doors like it was nothing, and dragged my partner screaming into the woods.
Jesus Christ.
What can we do then? Is it just going to kill us? No matter what we do?
If it wants, but it generally prefers to torment its victims. Play with them. Everywhere I went, it followed. For 12 years that thing stalked me. It destroyed my marriage, my career, everything. Then it went after my daughter. Police suspected a kidnapping. It was a kidnapping, alright. Then it left me alone.
So what? You're telling us there's...
Oh, that's dirty! It left him alone so that he could deal with the pain! It's like somebody smashing your chick in front of you, but way better than you do! There's nothing worse.
Way to stop it?
Now you're catching on. The funny thing is, when it stopped stalking me, all I wanted was it to come back. Just so I could rip its out.
Well, thank you for your time, but I don't know if you have anything useful left to...
Did I say I was finished? Truth is, I don't give a shit about you or your girlfriend. I tried to find that son of a bitch, but never did. But then I had an idea. Why not find its next target? It's only a matter of time before it shows its face. Jesus, I cracked myself up.
Look, I don't want any trouble.
Sorry, but I've waited long enough for this. Come on, kiddies. It's a lovely night for a stroll in the woods.
Yo, this shit escalated quick as hell, yo. How is this not more viral?
I know you're out there. Come out. Finish what you started. You've got 3 seconds to show yourself. Then I finish it for you. 1, 2. It's over! You got nobody to with except me. Show yourself! Show yourself, you son of a bitch! You killed—
What the hell?
My daughter, my partner, you dragged my life into the gutter, and for what? Huh? What? You coward! You shadowy freak! Get out here and finish it! Finish it!
Grimiest thing that the creature could do right now is to not even show himself.
Oh Christ. Oh God, what have I...
You can see some weird things when you're tired, but the thing about this story, I wasn't tired. Me and the family were on vacation to some resort in a very rural area of Pennsylvania to make the setting creepier. There weren't many young people there for me and my brothers to hang out with.
That is honestly the worst, I swear to God. Every time when I was a kid, the worst thing is not having kids my own age to play with.
It seemed like more of an adult resort. But then one day when I was walking outside of the main lodge of the resort, I, for some reason, looked up to a window on the 2nd floor and saw a teenage girl looking down at me. From that distance, she looked kinda cute, so I gave her a wave, but she didn't show any sign of reaction, so I just moved on. However, later that same day, I was so bored that I was sitting on the swing set at the little playground of the resort, and that's when I saw the same girl again. She was a little ways away from me, down past the playground.
The Grudge. That's immediately what I think anytime I think of a little girl or a girl in general. That movie scared me so bad, I had to stay with the girl that I did not even like that night, who had such a bad personality that I did not even have sex with her even though she tried. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I was also scared of the vagina at the time, but I would have had a better chance of messing with her had her personality not been so terrifying. But yeah, The Grudge.
And she was just standing there, staring at me. Being a teenage guy, my hormones controlled my body, And so I got off the swing and began walking over to her.
You tried to smash a ghost?
As I started getting closer to her, I realized she wasn't as cute as I thought she was.
Nigga!
There was something about her face that just gave off a creepy vibe. I can't put my finger on it, but if I had to say, I think it would have to do with her eyes and her mouth. I'd say once I got about halfway over to her, she turned around completely and ran into the woods. And I mean she full on ran into the woods. I stopped in my tracks, completely turned off.
Bruh, why is this one of the most sexually confusing stories I've ever heard in my life?
This girl seemed like a freaky stalker. I didn't see her the rest of our stay at the resort. During the car ride home, miles and miles away from the resort, I was thinking about her. How maybe if I followed her into the woods, I could have gotten laid, even though there was something off about her face. But then
not all sex is good sex, and even I'll say that.
What I saw next made me feel like my heart dropped into my stomach. Looking down ahead, I saw the same girl standing by the tree line on the side of the highway. As we sped past her, I saw her head turn so that she was always looking right at me, even through the tinted minivan windows. I asked my parents if they saw her, and they just responded, "Saw who?" Soon afterwards, I accepted that it was all in my head, and that the girl was never even there.
Yeah, even I know not to try to smash everything. You know what I mean? See a girl in the woods, wide eyes, freaky looking mouth, don't have sex with it. It's always, sometimes it's not even a female. You know what I mean? That's happened. I'm gonna edit that out.
About half a mile away from my old house that I would commonly go fishing in. It was nicknamed Daryl's Pond. I still have no idea who Daryl was or why it was called that, but nobody owned it, so people would once in a blue moon go fishing there as well. It was usually me by myself though. I had dug a pole into the ground where I would tie a noose to and from my small kayak. I'd say it was about 3 in the afternoon when I rowed out to the middle of the pond, the sweet spot for getting a decent catch. There was another person coming out from the trees. I waved at him and gave him a smile. He hopped into a small boat floating by the edge of the pond and began to row over to me. As he got close enough where trying to speak to him wouldn't come off as obnoxious, I gave him a friendly, "Perfect day, isn't it?" "Yes, absolutely," he said. He didn't say anything after that, and I started to feel a bit awkward, as if I were obligated to keep some kind of conversation rolling now. "So, you come out here to throw some lines?" I asked. "No, I don't actually fish." "Oh, well, it's never a bad day to relax on the pond," I said. He continued to row closer to me until his boat collided with mine, creating a big thud. I was genuinely uncomfortable now. I didn't feel threatened, just weirded out. I was only 24 years old. This guy looked like he was late 40s or 50s. There was an awkward silence. I tried to just act like I was focused on trying to make a catch, but by now that wasn't even on my mind. This guy was weird. I didn't know what he wanted, and I was uncomfortable being so close to him. I felt him looking at me, or at least in my direction, as I faced halfway to the opposite direction of him. I took a quick glance to my right. Yeah, he was staring at me. I decided to be ballsy and lock eye contact with him.
He came there looking for booty. Fleece Johnson, I'm sorry.
After about 4 seconds, he looked away. "So, where are you from?" I asked him. "Up there." He pointed behind himself, in the direction of the woodsy hill leading past the dirt road. "Oh, you live by Suffolk?" I asked. No, I'm not," he said. "What made you decide to come out here?" I said. "Why not?" I continued to try and uncomfortably fill the awkward silences that kept coming up. His responses were dry. He didn't contribute anything to what was barely a conversation. He just sat there not doing anything with half a smile on his face, looking either at me or in my general direction throughout.
I was creeped out. My heart was racing at this point. I'd go as far as saying that I was nervous for my life. We were surrounded by trees in all directions in the middle of a pond. I started to row a bit closer to land, but in a very low-key kind of way, trying to play it off as me just trying to find a better spot to find some fish. I was horrified when I saw he was following me. What a great day, huh? I felt a shake in my voice. I got close enough to the edge of the pond where I finally told the man, I think I'm gonna call it a day. I turned to see his reaction. He was still staring at me, but his smile was gone now. I can't let you leave, he said. He lifted his flannel to expose a handgun sticking out of his jeans pocket.
No, okay, shit just got real. Run for your life. He's still on the boat, run.
As soon as I could process what I was looking at, I dove out of the boat for land, ran the whole half-mile uphill through the woods back to my house, and locked every door and window as soon as I made it home.
No.
I pulled down the blinds to the dining room window, leaving it open just a crack for peeking outside undetected. It started to get dark out, and I left every light in the house off.
No. Why would you run back to your house? He knows where you live now. Shit!
Still peeking out to the front yard, making sure I wasn't followed. The time came when I finally decided I wasn't followed. I realize now, like you, that not calling the police immediately was a huge mistake. I kept my bedroom windows open to let the room air out. My bedroom was on the second floor, so I wasn't worried about being watched through the window. About half an hour after shutting the light and falling under the covers, I heard the sound of leaves crunching from outside. I sat up to hear it more clearly. It was definitely something walking around out there. Normally I would assume it was a deer or...
Please no jump scare. Please no jump scare.
A bear. But after what just happened, I was still in paranoia mode. I sat up as still as a statue, except for my shaking out of fear, waiting as the sounds of the steps stopped. Hey buddy, you up there? Are you trying to sleep? Sorry, I didn't mean to wake you. I felt like 100 pounds just fell directly onto my chest. It was the same voice. I knew it right away. I didn't make a sound. I crept out of the room quietly downstairs to the kitchen and grabbed the phone, practically crawling on my way out to avoid being seen through the open blinds. I called 911 like I should have earlier in the temporary safety of my bedroom. I made sure to whisper into the phone as I was still hoping that he hadn't yet heard or spotted me. 20 minutes felt like an hour as I sat behind my bed, waiting for the police to arrive in constant fear that I would hear glass breaking from downstairs, or a thud on the back door, or even just a voice again from down below my window outside. The police did a thorough investigation of the property in nearby woods, turning up nothing. They suggested I stay with a friend or a family member for a few days, and so I did. I never heard from or saw the man again, but I still moved a month later. I couldn't deal with the constant fear and paranoia of being watched through my windows. I feel much more comfortable fishing out by the bay now.
Really? Really, Llama Arts? Really?
The last thing I saw was my alarm clock flashing 12:07 before she pushed her long, rotting nails through my chest, her other hand muffling my screams. I sat bolt upright, relieved it was only a dream, but as I saw my alarm clock read 12:06, I heard my closet door creak open.
What the hell?
Growing up with cats and dogs, I got used to the sound of scratching at my door while I slept. Now that I live alone, it's much more unsettling.
No. Why is this Christmas themed? This is scary.
I begin tucking him into bed and he tells me, "Daddy, check for monsters under my bed." I look underneath for his amusement and see him, another him, under the bed, staring back at me, quivering and whispering, "Daddy, there's somebody on my bed." I always thought my cat had a staring problem. She always seemed fixated on my face, until one day when I realized
that she was always looking just behind me.
And that is your idea of a Christmas gift? No, thank you. But yo, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. The original video is in the link in the description down below. Make sure to go subscribe to Llama Arts. He makes great videos. It's your boy BlastphamousHD. And Merry Christmas, unfortunately.